queers. What's on the big gay agenda today, Theora?
Today, we are coming to the end of a very long journey, and we are wrapping up Gap the series with the final episode, episode 12. We made it, guys. We made it.
Yeah, just so everyone at home knows, this was supposed to be like 3 parts maximum.
Almost
Yeah,
one per
and then
episode.
we started talking, and now it's
all of the episodes are.
Yeah, it's 10 episodes long right now.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hope you enjoy. You guys seem to be enjoying, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, we hope that you enjoyed. I will say this up front rather than at the end. This topic was suggested to us by some of our lovely listeners, some that have been with us since we were Big Witch Energy. Thank you for suggesting this. If you have any other suggestions, anybody out there, of things you'd like us to cover, please leave it in the comments. We do take your suggestions seriously and work them into our schedule eventually. It's just, we film things in advance. We just have a very packed schedule, but we will get to it. So please leave us suggestions. We really appreciate it.
Yes, for anything and everything. We just did a book club a month or so ago. I don't know our schedule anymore.
That was also
someone recommended through an email. Comments are better though. So
yeah, but
faster
also
way to get to us. Since
the Freeing Becky people out there, we will do the loyal pin at some point, and I have actually read things and know things about it now. So that's coming eventually. So but if you want to comment that also, yeah. Kaitlynn and I just went into that teaser. It was sent to us and we didn't know anything. We're just we'll watch it because you sent it to us. We will know things the next time we talk about it. So
yeah,
that will be better.
People. We also need to communicate what our reaction videos are instead of discussions, because it seems to be some confusion. But
yes, yes.
Just know that was not supposed to be an analysis.
No,
so that was 7 minutes long.
If we didn't know anything about anything, we were just someone sent it to us, and we're okay, we'll watch it.
If it's less than an hour.
We're not analyzing.
It's not an analysis.
You've heard us talk. If you made it this far, you should be skeptical at a 7-minute video from us.
Yes. Just know it's just for fun.
Just know we're just having fun.
Okay, but before we get into episode 12,
Cole's leaving us forever.
Yeah, Cole's just leaving.
Cole's gone.
But while they get the camera back on, if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel, give this video a like, and drop a comment to share your thoughts. We absolutely love hearing from you. For our podcast listeners, please download this episode and leave a review if you can. Your engagement helps us reach a broader audience and spread the joy of queer content. For even more exclusive queer content, early access, and full reaction videos, and exclusive Gap the Series reaction videos, join us on Patreon, where we'll be reacting to the full show eventually. Theora currently has us filming that once a week. Anyway, dive into discussions on our Discord channel, where we enjoy connecting with all of you, and explore merchandise at biggayenergypod.com to show your support. All links will be in the description. Lastly, stay connected with us on all social media platforms by following @BigGayEnergyPod. Your interactions mean the world to us, and these actions contribute to our ongoing celebration of queer media and advocacy for better representation. Thank you.
Woo! All right, so let's get into the finale. So, where we left off last time, basically, Sam chose Mon at the Grandmam's house, and they stormed out of there, and now they have rushed back home. Sam is super distraught by this because that was just probably the hardest thing she's ever had to do. And she did it, right? Even though it was tearing her apart. She chose Mon, they ran out of there. She's just in the aftermath, really shaken up by this. And Mon is being a really good wife by just consoling Sam while she's processing this big thing she just did.
Anyone would be this, a wreck after this. That's a huge deal what she just did.
Oh my god, so huge. And we went into it a lot in the last episode, the way Sam really just loves her grandmother, and this really was super hard for her. And so she's just very racked with guilt over basically the whole family situation, because Nung was there and helping but not helping. And so Sam's got a lot inside that she's dealing with. And she's also just worried about her relationship with Mon, because remember, Kaitlynn, we talked about we mentioned this in the last episode, but Sam asks Mon during this this moment, she's like, will you love me forever? Because the abandonment issue, she's part of her is also worried, like, I just walked out on my grandmother I've loved my whole life. Will Mon do that eventually to me someday? Like, kind of like being like, does love even last forever? She's having like a quarter life crisis in this moment. Like, this was a lot for her. And Mon's like, Sam, why are you asking me this? Like, because yeah, Sam again loves her family, had a real bond with them, and I think part of her just always truly believed, like, it's that like naive Disney mentality. Love can conquer all. Like, it's a nice sentiment. It works out in some cases, but not all. Like, look at Sam's entire life. Everybody she's ever loved has like left her, abandoned her in one way, shape, or form. And then here she is willingly walking out on, and quote, abandoning the grandmam. So I think that she's just like, oh God, could this be me and Mon one day? Like, will our love really survive? Like, I hope it will, basically.
To the love can conquer all Disney type stuff, it is because we are fed that since we are very, very little. Like, oh, just meet the right man and fall in love and ride off into the sunset. All your problems will be gone.
Yeah. Love is great. Romantic love is great. Doesn't solve all your problems. You're still gonna have problems. As we saw with Cher and Rissa in the show. And Mon's like, did your love solve your problems? We're like, no. We still got problems. No. We worked through it now.
This morning.
yeah, we're literally fighting 5 seconds ago. Yeah, and to be fair, the love conquers all. That's actually a Latin phrase. So like it goes way, way back to like the Roman Empire. Like this is just a sentiment that humanity has kind of clung to for a very long time. And like sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, right? So Sam's grappling with that in this moment. And then she says this one line that's really interesting where she says, I used to tell the grandmother if it wasn't for her, there wouldn't be me. Because like I think the grandmother, like, again, they have that. I was talking about this earlier in the last episode where like the two of them seem really similar, Sam and her grandmother. And I think that like when she lost her parents and her sisters, like the grandmother's all she really had. So with this line of thinking, I think Sam is thinking like, oh, well, if I could cut ties so easily with the grandmother, like, could Mon do the same thing to me? She's really grappling with that too. She's worried that like Mon's gonna drop her one day.
And like, response kind of thing, where it's just very much like I need to hold on, and the fact that
for sure,
or like it's gonna turn into or she's afraid it's gonna be like exactly what you're saying, like she's gonna lose Mon at some point because everybody else has left or she has left, and so I think it's also just a like trying to come out of like a trauma type, like a trauma bond situation kind of thing. Like she's almost bonded to her grandmother and is working through trying to step away from her grandmother. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that's literally what she just did. And it's tearing her apart. And so like her brain is jumping into the future to be like, could I be on the receiving end of this one day if Mon meets somebody else and chooses to do this to me? Like, you know, I thought my love with my grandmother was unbreakable, but clearly I just broke it. Like she feels like she's sacrificing one love for another. And then she's like, but could this love fall apart? So she's like spiraling basically. And while she's doing so, Mon acts as like the rock, right, for Sam, like her grounding presence. And while she's spiraling with the love component, she's also like worried that something actually is happening to the grandmother, because the grandmother was like falling down and acting weird. And Sam's like, oh God, what if I'm actually like killing her because I'm like being so ungrateful and not choosing her. And I think maybe this sentiment comes from how the grandmam like persuaded Sam to do things, like basically like the ungrateful piece where she's like, well, you should be grateful to me because I'm your elder and I took care of you and I'm doing what's best for you. And so Sam was always like, yeah, I have to like pay respect. And like, and by like openly defying her, I think she's like that aspect of the guilt is kind of like coming out as well. And I think that's causing Sam to like kind of doubt what she just did. She's like, did I just make the right decision? I don't know. Like, so Mon at the Rock, she eases Sam into calming down and suggests that they're like, you know, everyone's real emotional right now. It's a lot of emotions. Like, why don't we just like calm down for a bit? And then like when everybody calms down. We can go we'll go together and talk to the grandmamma, like when everybody cools off and pay our respects and stuff. And like, it'll be better rather than just like spiraling. But Sam has the heart of the Cowardly Lion mixed with a lifelong Catholic, and her resolve is waning, and she knows she'll lose it completely if she goes back to the grandmother. She's like, if I get in her presence, I'm going to cave so fast. And then she's like, and then I don't know what's going to happen to our relationship, because I literally, the whole crux of it is that I chose you, and if I go back there, I'm going to choose her. I know me, and I know I'm a coward. But Mon has drunk the Disney Kool-Aid, and she's like, I'm confident that our love will conquer all, which is a 180 from like previously with Mon, where she like gave up entirely, and like, and I wonder if this resolve to be like, no, we got this. It's partly coming from delusion. I mean, hope, but also from witnessing Sam finally choose her in what felt like such a big monumental way. Like, because again, they've been trapped in this cycle of like, the grandmother's never going to let me do this, or I have to marry Kirk, and blah, blah, blah. And then Sam finally just was like, no, grandmother, I'm choosing her. And so I think maybe those two components are giving Mon the confidence to be like, no, we're going to make it. Like, we're going to make it. I saw how much you love me. Like, you just showed me, like, and obviously that's all that matters, right? But I think at the end of the day, like, while Mon feels that, like, that Sam really does love her, and she yes. I think Mon as a person is somebody who wouldn't want to be the reason that Sam gave up her family. Like, as an emotionally intelligent and very empathetic person, I think she knows that this ultimatum is really killing Sam. Like, you can see it in this scene, how much this is tearing her apart. And so she suggests that maybe like, hey, perhaps we can like have it all if we like go back and negotiate together with the grandmother rather than just storming out dramatically. Like, that way you don't have to choose anybody. Like, it can be like a mutual thing, right? And the key is like together. And so like, call back to the pool scene they had in episode 2 where they had the first sleepover, and Mon tells Sam the fable. She's like, tell me a story. She tells her the story about like the lion and the ants or whatever. What was the moral of that story? That unity is strength. And that, kids, is what we call foreshadowing, because that's the thing that gets them through it, right? Like the fact that they're a united front, rather than like all this, like up to this point, the whole grandmam and Mon thing, it's all backdoor deals. Like behind closed doors, she's like, Mon, I choose you. This is great. And then she gets behind the door with the grandmother. She's like, no, grandmother, I choose you. So like, we all have to come together in one room and make a decision. And that's what Mon is proposing. Like, let's be united front rather than this like divided or explosive thing that happened. Nung did not help the situation, basically, is what I'm saying. Neither did Kirk.
Wasn't the moral of the fable, if you step on ants, there will become more ants on you or something?
I mean, that's how Sam has been approaching this whole Mon situation, and clearly, Sam, that's not the point of the story.
But I absolutely love how Mon chooses to support Sam here, telling her to show and prove to the grandmother that she can love them both, because just prove it. Like, yeah. Actions are louder than words, and that it isn't all or nothing. And because they all have this all or nothing way, like it's my way or you're dead to me, basically.
Yeah. It's an ultimatum, this or that.
I know that we say that they could all use therapy, but I think the grandmother may need it the most.
I think Sam and her grandmother should go to therapy together.
I think Young should attend some too.
Young and the grandmother should go to therapy together.
Yeah, those two definitely. And then
my God.
Sam in. Yeah, those two have a lot to work on.
Yes, the family's been through quite a bit. Instead of therapy, Mon tells Sam that she loves her very much, which works to calm down Sam a bit. But then the phone rings. And it's Kirk, because of course it is, because we can't have these things. So this is a sad moment, but funny, because Sam's staring at the phone, and she's like, I guess Sam has been ignoring her phone. So then Kirk calls Mon, and Mon's like, what the fuck? He's calling me, because Sam is spiraling so hard she can't even make a simple decision like, should I pick up my phone? And so, because she's second guessing literally everything in her life. That's how bad she's spiraling. And Mon's like, I'll get the phone. Picks up the phone. And her face is immediately like panicked. So ominous music should have been playing. Subtitles.
There was no music in this scene.
No, this
which I thought was odd.
I know. Why would they omit music, Kaitlynn? What does that do to the scene?
It makes you actually focus on their words instead of anything going on.
There. All right, so Mon on the phone is like, this call is not for me, and basically like throws the phone at Sam. She's like, Sam, pick up the phone, like throws it at her, and Sam's like, fine, I guess since you answered it, I can just talk. That's not a decision. And so she starts freaking out because because Kirk is basically like, hey, remember how no one was like the grandmam's being dramatic? She wasn't. She's in the hospital, and she's having a very real, and then he says heart failure. And I think this is a mistranslation. I think it's a mistranslation oversimplifying what's happening with the grandmother. I think she's having what we would, in layman's terms, call a heart attack. And from this, I was like, is this STEMI or NSTEMI? Basically, like, is there a clot that, like, is obscuring blood in, like, an organ, like a stroke or a pulmonary embolism? Or is she just having a blockage? But, like, heart failure is not an acute thing. Like, it's a very long, chronic, insidious diagnosis that wouldn't present like this. So I think they mean the heart is failing because it's a heart attack, is what they meant. And this is what also leads me to believe that hypertension and coronary artery disease for sure run in Sam's family. And Sam, please go get a good primary care physician, because like it runs in your family. Like the hypertension you've been having, it worries me truly.
You can afford it. I mean, I don't even know what it's. If in America you could afford it.
She's the queen. She could definitely afford healthcare anywhere. All right, and then Sam's really confused. She's like, "What do you mean? She's." I think in her mind, like the grandmam's invincible, and Kirk's like, well, how did you not know she's had heart disease for like a while, basically? And so it's interesting that Sam didn't know this because, again, heart diseases like this are something that take decades to develop, like years. So it's weird that like Sam didn't know this.
Kirk know it?
So it makes me wonder, like, how close were they really in the preceding, like, 10.
Kirk knows he spends a lot of time recently with the grandmother, and maybe the heart condition's gotten worse.
Right. Exactly. That's how this would progress, or he's seeing her take her meds, or yeah. So that it leads me to believe, it leads me to wonder, like, how close were they at this point, really? And then what other secrets really is the grandmother potentially keeping from Sam? Because they may not spend as much time together as they used to,
I think once the grandmother started wanting her to get married, that's probably when it started to drift away a little more, because now she is controlling her. And I think before that, there probably wasn't as much controlling. She was just like, I want to be there for you. I want to help you with Sam to the grandmother.
Yeah. And also, like,
grandmother is like, do this. She's like,
Well, do this. What was Sam's response? She's like, I'm going to throw myself in this startup company. So I think perhaps Sam was she moved out and moved into that house. She wasn't living with the grandmother. So I wonder if like that caused the drift, or for Sam to like be around versus like who's been planning the wedding with the grandmother. It's been Kirk. Kirk's over there more than Sam is. So I think this just also adds to the guilt that she's like, oh, fuck, I didn't even know this big major thing. So Sam is so distraught at this point that not even Mon can console her. And she flees the scene, leaving poor Mon behind.
Still using the lady.
I know. It would always bother me that Sam never told her not to call her that in private. It's fine. Then we get to the opening credits. And why did they change the song? Why did they change it for like the finale?
This is very jarring.
I know, it was very jarring. I'm very attached to the song that's been in the credits, so I was like, no, where is it?
And in episodes?
I know, I still like it.
It is very odd, like the last episode. I wonder if it's a theme song for another show, maybe, and they're like just trying to have a tie-in or something.
Maybe. They played the song another time in the opening credits, like randomly. I forget what episode it was, but like
it was like halfway through, I believe.
It was, but it's the finale. I want the OG song of the finale. Just saying. All right. So after the jarring song, we cut to the hospital where a sobbing Sam stumbles into the hospital, and she runs into the world's worst healthcare provider. I have problems. As a healthcare provider, I have problems with this. Who tells her, because she's like, do you know, like, the honorable, like, she drops the grandmother's government name, because everybody knows who she is. And this person's like, oh, don't worry. There's a doctor treating your dying grandmother right now. And then he, like, disappears behind a door. And, like, dude. So, okay. So the fact that he knows that there's a doctor seeing the grandmother means he's at least somewhat up to date on what's going on with the grandmother. So like, she's a family member. He could have told her like she's stable. Like he could have told her something. Instead he was like, don't worry, there's a doctor with her. And then just like left, which is really fucked up. Have some bedside manner, man. What the hell, for fuck's sake. But aside from that, interestingly, Nung is in the waiting room. So she did follow the grandmother. So she didn't just like ditch the grandmother and just let Kirk handle this. She went with them, which is interesting. But she didn't call Sam or Mon to tell them what was going on, because she has Mon's number. We know that. And Sam too, because Sam called her. So I think that for this, it's kind of like Nung really is somebody who believes in the ultimatum is the right way to go. And I think she believes wholeheartedly that cutting complete ties with relatives when rebelling is like the right way to go. So I wonder if she didn't call Sam, because she's like, if I call Sam, Sam's going to come running to the hospital. And Sam finally made her own choice. So I think she was, by withholding information, she thought she was doing what was best for Sam. But like, here's Sam showing up on her own, you know? And Nung is, again, it's reinforced by the fact that when Nung sees Sam, she's like, God damn it, Sam, you lost to the grandmother. Here you are. You chose Mon 5 minutes ago, and now you're back choosing our grandmother. Like, you just lost this, like, independence thing. But Sam is the type of person who puts other people first, and she's like, look, this isn't about winning. Like, our grandmother's life is on the line. Like, what are you talking about, Nung? Now is not the time for this. But Nung believes in, you know, her methods, and she calls Sam weak, and Sam's like, yeah, I'm weak, but like, weak in what way? Like, weak in her resolve, maybe. I think that's what maybe Nung means. Is she weak because she's compassionate? So if you like kind of compare Nung and Sam, like, they're foils, right, in a way, because their fatal flaws are polar opposite, where Nung is like the selfish person. And I mean selfish in the sense that she will put her self-interest above others, right? She will sacrifice anyone and anything for her happiness. And Sam is the complete opposite. Sam is actually really selfless. She's a people pleaser. She will sacrifice herself for everyone else's happiness. So I think it's like coming to a head really in this scene with the grandmother. So I'll die on the hill that like Sam is really the perfect person in their family to break the generational curse of like women, you know, not being able to be independent, because she does it in a way with the grandmother by the end of the show that doesn't leave any casualties. Like, Nung was like, fuck everybody, and like left casualties, like cut ties with her whole family. And like that led to Song being the focus, and then Song spiraled, and then Sam being the focus, and that's caused a problem with the grandmother. And so for me, I think that, like, yeah, okay, compassion makes Sam weak, I guess. Her resolve wanes constantly, but to me, Sam is more complex than that. And she was the one who ultimately did the harder thing. She was trying to like bridge all the gaps between everybody, and come to a compromise rather than just like, I choose me, goodbye.
You're not going to make a gap joke there?
No. I'm just bringing back the title because it fits in a lot, you know, it's a fitting title in a lot of ways. And for Sam, I think she has more than one source of happiness, whereas Nung was framed as like, I love being an artist, that's it. Whereas like Sam loves Mon, absolutely, but she also loves her family. Like, she's more complex than that. Two opposing things can be true at once, basically, when it comes to all of this. And so I think this is really interesting, the two of them.
I don't know how to feel about Nung. Well, I'll get into it more after the next section, but this episode definitely, like, the first time we see her, I'm like, oh, I like her, I understand her. This whole scene makes me not.
Yeah, you can kind of see where, like, extremes are bad, basically. And just in general, like, too much of something can be toxic really fast when you start being extreme. And Nung is presented as somebody being very extreme in her views. It's black or white. Hence the ultimatum. It's this or that. It's me or you. It's me or grandmother. Like, versus Sam, like, Sam's the one in the middle constantly, who's like, okay, well, like, I want this, but you want that. How do we like compromise? Nung is not a compromising person. And so it presents her as more extreme. And like, she is really like vicious in this scene with Sam, like the present scene. Like, yeah, it's just, there's a lot of vitriol being thrown at Sam. Okay, but let's why are we here? So we transition into the trauma of it all. We go back in time and oh no, just kidding. Before we get to the trauma of the flashback, Nung is like, Sam's like, okay, but like, I'm here because I care about the grandmother. Why are you here? You must be here because you care. And Nung's like, I'm here to make sure the Wicked Witch dies. Like, like, that's why I'm here. And Sam's like, that's some bullshit. Because I know you're lying. You're smiling right now. And let's flashback to how we got Sam's poker behavior.
I still wish we got these flashbacks like halfway through the show
Me too.
instead of the last episode.
I know. I would have
been super helpful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we know the contrarian behavior, but it's wild. It came from her sister. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So
because you think that because they paint the grandmother as the evil one beating them down. Continue. I'll finish after you recap.
Yeah. So a couple things about the flashback. Basically, like it's basically all the sisters are having a conversation, and we get confirmation of like why Sam was a contrarian for so long. And it's because the OG was Nung the whole time. Basically, her older sister, Nung, was Sam's role model for learning how to protect her vulnerable emotions behind a mask that looks the opposite of how she feels. And in the flashback, like Nung's playing the piano. And what's so cute about this is, again, Sam, Sam has the biggest heart of anybody. She's watching her sister play the piano and smiling. And she makes the comment, she's like, I'm so happy to see you being so happy playing the piano. Like, that's all she's like. She's very innocently and wholeheartedly saying that to her sister. She's like, I'm just happy you're happy. And Song, like, is like, okay, whatever. Because these two apparently were scheming behind Sam's back. Sam's the innocent one here. And Nung's like, yeah, no. Anytime you see emotions on my face, it's the opposite of how I feel. It's a way to protect myself. And Song's like, it's protecting her from the grandmother. So I think like this kind of shows that like those two were never as close to the grandmother as Sam was. Because Sam seems very like genuine. And those two already sounded like they were kind of like scheming already at this age, which is really, really interesting. So I wonder if those two, Nung and Song, had like some kind of like stuff against the grandmother already, because they both seem to like it, like they look at each other at one point. I'm like, I'm pretty sure those two are like kind of conspiring against the grandmother already as children.
But also when you're not the favorite. So like Sam's been the favorite since very little.
Forever.
Probably forever.
Yeah.
So the two of them, what are you going to do? So can you tell I have some experience with this? So when you're not the favorite and there's like a bunch of, you have like they're siblings. So they're usually there together, I'm assuming. So the two of them are just like kind of neglected in a way while Sam gets praised. So what else they're going to do? Just talk about their misery together, which has kept them up until, well, unfortunately, Song died. And Nung still feels it. So they're like, eventually, it's going to get to the point where Sam is going to be in our position. And it's better to have her be prepared for it now than to let her deal with it herself.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And like also if you think about it, Nung and Song, they're older when this is happening. So Nung is obviously like the focus because she's the heir at this point in the grandmother's eyes. And so like all the expectations are being placed on her already. And she's like, I hate every second of this. Because who knows what their home life was like with their parents / their mom. So I think it's harder when you're older and you like, this is why like indoctrinating children is terrible. Because like little kids don't know any better. Like Sam didn't know anything else. She's just like, I just know the grandmother's love. I don't know anything else. But the older ones remember their past life probably more like with their parents and stuff. And they're like, I hate this. This is bullshit. So they're more likely to rebel also. Yeah. And so, yeah, but Sam was the favorite and you're right. Like the grandmother's not shy about that. She's not shy about that.
Especially in these the flashback where she's playing the piano.
They're alone, to be fair, in that flashback. But yeah, so she flat out says it. She's like, I love you the most, Sam.
But I find it interesting that they still have Nung's hair dyed. And like, I know this is them playing their younger selves. And like, they tried to hide it. But I don't know why they didn't just have her wear a wig. Because I definitely don't think the grandma is allowing her to dye her hair green.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Or whatever it is.
I know, it's multicolored. What a dye job. All right, so let me jump out of the flashback and go back to the hospital. where Nung reminds Sam of the consequences of choosing the grandmam over Mon. She's like, hey, you're here. Obviously, you made your choice now. Don't forget to break up with Mon so that girl can be free of all this bullshit and find happiness in her own way. Which, yeah, okay, like be considerate of your partner when you're dealt an ultimatum and like you're making this decision. Because like again, Nung is viewing this whole situation as a zero sum. You pick grandmother, that means you can't have Mon. You should probably tell Mon about that because you just chose her 10 minutes ago. And so again, but Sam is still in this headspace of like, she was always clinging to the hope that she can have Mon and her family, and like it's becoming way too real that she cannot in the current state of things, you know.
I just wish Nung was more like fight for it. Not like, yeah, she for herself she had to get out, but maybe you can fight. No, she's just being like, all right, you better give up now then. I just don't know what to think about Nung anymore. Because that flashback definitely does, like, she's the one who beat her down. Not beat her down, but just was like, do not be who you are. Be the opposite.
Yeah,
and it's
she's
just,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, because again, it's that she has an extremist mentality is the problem. Like, she can't see the nuance of the situation. She's like, if you're going to be like, and she also is at this point is like, Sam, you're weak. You just lost. Like, I can't fucking believe you. Like, I came to your aid to help you get the girl, and then you just gave up the girl for the grandmother. Like, great. Good job, Sam. You choosing to be unhappy. She's like, just let Mon go. Let her, at least one person can be happy. She can't see like the gray. And I think she was very young when she made the decision to run away from the grandmother. Who knows how old she really was in that flashback? It's hard to say because like with Song was 25. Like she was at the marrying age when she was like, actually, I'm gay. But like, I don't know how old Nung really was with the painting. So like maybe she was younger and she was just like, fuck it. Like she didn't have like the, the life experience and the maturity of like Song and Sam because they're older to be like, let's try to compromise. So I think her viewpoint seems very young and naive to me, where it's like, no, it has to be one way or the other. And just, yeah, I think she's mad that Sam doesn't think like her or behave like her as part of it, which I think is a good thing she doesn't, because, Nung's very extreme and it's jarring.
Yeah, I need to understand more about Nung's mind because, and I know Nung does have her own show coming
there's 2
out,
episodes
not with the same
right
actress, but I believe that's what comments told us.
Yeah, I think it's blank. I think, there is a book there, because again, this is based on a book. There is a book about
the show.
Nung's life. So I haven't seen it, so I have 0.
I know even less.
Great. All right. So let's get to the part where I was right. So we get into the room with the grandmam and Sam and the grandmam. And she's now reliving. I'm surprised we don't see the flashback. She's just like voices, right? It's a voice flashback where like the doctor, the stiletto doctor, is telling Sam, she's like, she had a pulmonary embolism for 10 years. So I was right. That was a STEMI. That's what she had. Just FYI.
Because Theora is amazing at her job, and she's an awesome doctor.
Yeah. So, like, basically, she's had heart disease for, 10 years. So, interesting that Sam didn't know that. Because, like, pulmonary embolism is, like, can kill you. So, it's interesting that she had a pulmonary embolism. Sam had no idea 10 years ago when they were allegedly closer. So, like, that says a lot about their relationship and the fact that the grandmother was also hiding things from Sam.
So, my only knowledge about this is unfortunately from Grey's Anatomy, and usually it's like what kills people right away when they come into the ER, so you can live with a pulmonary embolism?
Oh yeah, it just depends, like, if they can intervene on it fast enough, like, but basically what it is like you have a piece of plaque basically that builds on your heart, and your heart's a moving constantly thing, and they're sometimes inside the blood vessels, like it's like cholesterol builds up basically, and a piece can get really weak, and the velocity of it, basically the blood can like break off a piece, and you have major blood vessels depending on the chamber of the heart. One goes to your brain directly, and then the other one goes into your heart. So hers was in the vessel that was leading to the heart, leading to the lungs, hence pulmonary, your lungs. And so what happens is a clot gets shot into your lung, and when that happens, you can't oxygenate. So if it's bad enough, your lungs suddenly can't oxygenate anymore, and you can die from that. But if it's like small and tiny, like it'll just be really painful. So it could have been one that they could like medically treat if it was small enough. With like she would have been on blood thinners and things like that, and probably had to change her diet. So I'm surprised, like based on like how that recovery goes, that Sam never knew. So that's a pretty big thing that can kill you, and Sam had no idea.
Well, also in the time that grandmother grew up, and I'm assuming like it's better to like keep to yourself. Don't let people know things that could harm you, and
that appear weak or whatever.
Quote, don't show your weakness.
Conceal,
she's
feel.
don't let them know.
That's the grandmam to Sam.
Damn it, Theora, you can't distract me with songs.
I have to.
All right, I think I was going to say something else, but just move on now because it's definitely out of my brain.
Okay, so the physician tells Sam off screen what was going on with the grandmam, and basically she starts feeling the obligation guilt come flooding back because now it's who knows what happened. It could have been like the heart, could have been the lungs again, with her condition. And basically they're like, okay, well, there's a recovery process with this. They have to take a bunch of meds. They have to like rest, and they have to get fit again, change their diet, all bunch of stuff. So the physician is telling this to Sam in the voice flashback. And so basically being like, she needs a caregiver, someone who's with her to watch her, to make sure she's okay. So like, that's when Sam's like, okay, like I definitely can't leave her. Like she's going to die. But also we get a shot of what Sam's wearing. And so just a moment to appreciate boyfriend Sam in all her glory. Love this outfit. And as she's kind of thinking back on what the physician told her about the grandmam, she gets a call from Mon. And one of the things that, with, I assume they're medically treating whatever the clot was. Basically, they're like, okay, you don't trigger her. Because like, one of the things that can make this condition worse is hypertension, like when your blood pressure gets high, and that can happen when you're aggravated or upset or things like that.
That you think they all have, right?
Oh, I think it definitely runs in their family. That's what the nosebleeds are coming from. Mm-hmm. But that's part of this condition that the grandmother definitely has like coronary artery disease for sure. And so, but they say it in the show, they're like, hey, make sure you keep her calm because that's part of the recovery in this disease state. You can make it worse. And so Mon's calling as she's thinking this. And she's like, well, Mon's plan of like us talking to the grandmother, that can't happen because that might kill her in her current state. If like
literally kill her.
Literally kill her. And so again, Sam's situation is even more impossible now because she's like, one false move and I can kill. I almost killed my grandmother with like choosing Mon. Like
going back to earlier, make one wrong move and everyone will know. That's a different song. Never mind. It's the same movie, different song. It's the same character though. So continue.
Is it Frozen?
Yeah, it's For the First Time in Forever though. I had to sing it more in my head.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you said that. The line For the First Time in Forever has been stuck in my head for like a month, and I'm like, what song is that actually? What movie is that from? I know it's Disney. Is it Tangled? Frozen. It's Frozen. Thank you. Okay, solving a mystery that's been in my head. You listeners didn't even know any of that, but you're welcome. Kaitlynn solved the mystery in my head.
That's what happens when Theora brings up song lyrics, and then it's just gonna be Frozen forever.
Not the first time in forever, though. Okay, so basically, Mon calls Sam, and Sam's like, I can't even pick this up in the room with the grandmother because it might kill her. And so basically she's back to ghosting Mon. And I think Mon knows like that Sam has made her choice at this point, and she's chosen the grandmother. And like, I feel bad for Mon. And I have to point out that when we cut to Mon's wearing a shirt with little foxes on it. Fox? She doesn't wear
foxes?
Yeah, they're little foxes.
It's not fox eye.
The right plural for fox?
Or just fox. Or,
yeah,
that's
like
true.
Foxes.
Are they deer?
Well, it could just be fox.
It's foxes.
There's deer also.
No, they're foxes.
There's one on the shoulder.
Make it bigger.
Oh. There's
Are there?
the fox. I see the fox. It's
Oh, there is a deer. Okay, on the corner. Yeah, I don't. She doesn't
that's
wear.
odd. Okay,
She
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
wear, like,
Everything else is a fox, and then there's one deer.
one deer. That is weird. I don't know. She doesn't wear printed clothing very often. We saw her wear like the unicorn. Now this. It's just weird. Anyway, go on. I don't understand this outfit choice, but sure.
It was clean and it was there.
Right. Why is it there though? She's feeling
Animal
innocent. Maybe she
prints.
needed a
I
friend.
mean, I
and so
like the shirt.
That's when she wears clothes with prints on it. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. She just doesn't normally wear prints.
She could feel like the fox where she's always there and around for Sam, and Sam is like the one lone deer.
That's faded. It's faded too, because the deer is fading away. Love it. Kaitlynn nailed it. Okay, cool. So that happens. Sam is ghosting Mon. And then 3 days later, poor Mon is still at the house, like still being ghosted by Sam, who I assume hasn't left the hospital. I love Sam, but this was super fucked up. Like, Mon deserved way better than being ghosted, especially after literally everything they just went through. And like, I understand it's hard for Sam, but like, she made up her mind 3 days ago and just still is like refusing to like acknowledge this to Mon. And this is just like peak cowardice for me with Sam.
I agree. They went into Sam visiting the grandmother. Like, right before this phone call, Mon was telling Sam to go visit the grandmother again and not make up, but like leave on better terms with her. And they were like, you can show her. Mon and Sam like agreed eventually. You can have both. And then Sam doesn't even have the decency to communicate with Mon. Like,
yeah.
It makes no sense because like Mon keeps reiterating why communication is important. This is how we can make things better. And now every single time something happens in Sam's life, she just immediately dishes Mon, and I hate it. And that doesn't seem like she truly cares about Mon. And we know that she does care, but her actions have a terrible way of showing it.
Yeah, and we've had some scenes where like it's just the two of them and the fight is just about the two of them, where like Sam sticks around. I mean, she ghosts her, but then sticks around when they're having the conversation. Like here, like Sam's not even giving her the decency of like having the conversation in the aftermath of all of this. And not gonna lie, like the first time I saw this, like it was really rough to see Sam doing this at this stage in their relationship, at this stage in her character development and all that stuff. And I thought Sam had regressed so far back that like all of her character growth was like reset. And like I was hopeful this wasn't the case, but like this wasn't looking good going into a finale, you know, as somebody who's watched a lot of queer media and has PTSD from how that normally goes. Like, I was like, oh crap, this is not going to end well. Cause like Sam is like literally back to square one. She's fully with the grandmother, not acknowledging Mon. Like, you know, like it just, yeah, this was hard to watch like for the first time.
And
my webcam, I can't see what it did. What did it do?
I think it was a thumbs up. It's always a thumbs up. It's the one that your camera likes the best.
I know, apparently.
But we'll get into it in a couple more scenes. But the length of time that she does go without talking to Mon at all, like not even acknowledging her, and what happens to the point of when they actually do talk, like that scene pisses me off. But continue, and we'll get there.
I feel you. And just like the shots here of like Mon alone in the house, just like worrying, are just hard to watch. So being the strong person that she is, Mon leaves the house. She doesn't want to. There's a scene of her just like looking back longingly.
Looking at the pool and remembering all their fond memories there.
Remembering the sexcapades in the pool. She's like, I was the boss. I remember that. We all do, Mon. Don't worry. But I think she feels like she's out of options at this point. Like, again, she's trapped in the cycle of like, okay, Sam, let's try to do this. Okay, Sam, I trust you. And then like Mon ends up getting ghosted. So, you know, excuse me. So I think she's just like, it's time to change something for real. So she's like staring at the house, reliving all their beautiful memories together. And like, you can see her little heart shattering in like a million pieces. But you know, when it's time, it's time. Because, like, what's the definition of insanity? Like, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? I think Mon's like, something's got to change. So she moves back in with her parents and quickly prays to lesbian Jesus to help her heal her broken little gay heart. So in response, lesbian Jesus sends Yuki to console her. Which is sweet, because we haven't had like an intimate moment with the two of them since the beginning.
Yeah, it's like with all the friends have always been there.
Yeah, or like it's not. So it's nice to have a Yuki Mon like moment, basically.
I'm glad Yuki and T could fit the filming in their schedule for the last episode.
Me too. I agree. So they're kind of like hugging and like crying together, basically. And Mon is rationalizing the breakup to Yuki in a way that seems like she never really thought this relationship was going to fully work out. Like, I think Mon, on some level, like, always thought this was a fantasy, like, too good to be true. Because, like, hey, they're you know, the gaps, they're so different, you know. And I think she's
pesky gaps.
Huh?
Those pesky gaps.
Those pesky gaps getting in the way of my lesbians. I think that she thought that like the Sam that she ended up having, like the Sam in the past that like was enchanting, and then the Sam she got in the present who, once the poker face came off, I think she always thought that that was just too good to be true. Like she never fully thought that she deserved Sam. And then so she's always like, this day was going to come, but it still hurts, basically. And like I've said earlier, like in order for them to have their life together, like Sam would have to abandon her family the way Nung abandoned her family. And Mon, the empathetic person, was never going to be happy with that. Like she cares about Sam and her happiness too much to be that like, quote, selfish, to be like, yeah, Sam, you have to choose me kind of thing. I don't think that Mon can live with herself as being the reason that like Sam doesn't have a family anymore, basically. So she's kind of like, this sucks, but Sam did the right thing, you know? So Mon is just, bottom line, a heartbroken mess. And she misses Sam. Like, despite being like, logically, I knew this was going to happen, like, it still hurts. And I still miss her. And I like that Yuki is a good friend to Mon here. And she just like holds her while she cries. And then she starts crying. And it's just a good friend moment, you know?
And now, because Yuki is in a committed relationship that we don't get enough of, what happens, Theora?
Well, apparently lesbian Jesus didn't just send one queer to Mon's aid, she sent all of them. And so T and Jim, speaking of the queers, are in Mon's house, just like chilling. Because I think Kate has run out of get out of the set free cards, and they're like, you have to work, because we're never going to finish this filming. So she's not allowed to come anymore.
It's very odd because later they're like, I know, you finish your dramatic something. And then in the very next scene, she's there, and it confused the shit out of me. It actually might be this into the next scene. I don't.
It might be. I can't remember.
Well, I'll let you know once we get there.
Please enlighten me. So anyway, out in the living room, the queers are hanging out. And by hanging out, T is ragging on Jim.
Because of course.
Yes, of course. And what is Jim doing? Jim is just playing with Singa. She's playing with the dog. And T has to give her like inaccurate pregnancy advice because these bitches don't know anything about kids and should not be raising human children. And so basically T's like, you know, if you stare at something for too long, the baby will end up looking like the thing you're staring at. And then Jim's like, oh, so my baby's going to look like a puppy. And would that be a bad thing? Puppies are cute.
Yeah, but then she like switches after, and the next question is, are you calling my baby a dog? And then she's like, well, yeah, you're saying it looks so cute. She's like, oh yeah, you look like my baby would look like you.
Jim should not be raising human children. Evidence 5,000 from the show. This scene.
But I would have loved if they gave them those robotic babies all to take care of. That would be a hilarious episode.
That would be hilarious. That could be the same episode where Sam is actually taking care of the dog.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's like the child rearing episode. That'd be hilarious. All right, so then Mon eventually comes out of the room with Yuki, and all the friends console Mon, and they're coming to terms with the fact that the Grandmam was victorious over Mon and the stupid horns love. And Jim brings up the elephant in the room first. These two bitches need closure because Sam's been ghosting you. Like, you guys need closure so you can like move on, honestly, and like clear things up because you're just stuck in limbo because of Sam. And it's also revealed during this conversation that literally nobody has been able to get in touch with Sam. Like Sam's been ghosting everybody in her life. At one point, they're even like, did the grandmother take her phone? And that's why she's not responding. And they're like, the grandmother can't take her phone. That's how she does business with the company, quote. So implying that Sam is ghosting everybody. And in what I assume was an act of desperate resourcefulness, Jim reached out to Kirk. So because of this, she does know a little bit about Sam and where Sam currently is. Yeah, this is the scene.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. Because Cade's in the next scene. Mom misses the last part about knowing where Sam is and hyper focuses on the fact that Sam is ghosting her friends also. So despite everything, Mon is still deeply worried about Sam, who's like actively isolating herself in a moment when she needs support. And like, I relate to Sam in this situation. I'm kind of a similar person where I will isolate myself. Particularly in the breakup, I've had this exact scenario happen where like a breakup happened and like the friends were friends with the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend, and I was just like, I guess you can have them, even though they were my friends first, and like I'll just go over here. So I actually do relate to Sam in this scenario.
Have you talked to them since? Did you take the friends back?
The friends, yeah, the friends, yeah.
No, I don't mean the person.
We will not get into that.
I wonder.
I relate to Sam in this scenario, though. This is rough.
I wonder if Mon feels like it's part of her fault too, in a way, or it's just that she's like, shit, something's really wrong because these friends who have been with her whole life. It seems like halfway through the show, the friends get closer to Mon. It's probably because Mon's easier to let people in, but it doesn't seem like they're Sam's friends. They are friends, but they're like more Mon's friends at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if that's just because like we see things from Mon's perspective more when it comes to the friends versus Sam. But yeah, it does read that way. It reads like they genuinely got really close independent of Sam. So this is a tricky situation for the friends to be in too, where they're like, we don't want to take sides. I think so. Jim's like,
Mon, we take your side.
Right. Even though, like, Sam is robbing them of that option because Sam's like, I'm not even going to talk to you guys because you're going to go to Mon. Go to Mon. I think it's too painful for Sam to be like, this is part where I relate to her. It's like, I don't want to hear about what's going on with Mon. Like, she's like, you just have them, like, whatever. So I kind of get where Sam's coming from. But for the friend's point of view, I think with Jim, the line where she's like, you guys need to clear things up. I think part of that is like, we don't want to be in the middle of this. Like, you guys need to clear your shit up so that like we can be there for Sam too. And hopefully once you clear things up, we can talk to Sam because she's ghosting us because of all this. And so, yeah, it's very messy, basically. Okay, so because Jim knows where Sam is, she gathers the gang to support Mon as she confronts Sam. So she takes basically everybody to where Sam is.
Which now Kate is able to join.
Yeah, for some reason, Kate is now here. So unfortunately, this is the exact location as Sam's pre-wedding photo shoot, which means Kirk is also here. So great.
I don't understand the pre-wedding photo shoot thing because isn't it like, I don't know, maybe it's just an American thing, but bad luck to see the bride in the wedding gown before the wedding.
I wonder if this is not the wedding gown she's going to wear. I wonder if this is just also weird. Her photos. They have enough money to be like, yeah.
To American standards, I feel like. I also just don't understand weddings in general.
I wonder too if like, so in a lot of different cultures, like weddings or not, I mean, a wedding in Western cultures, goodbye Cole can handle it, are basically like, it's a couple hours.
Yeah.
It's like, even if you're Catholic, it's like, okay, you have mass, which is like 1 to 2 hours. Then you have the wedding ceremony. Then there's the reception party. It's a couple hours most. Like that's maybe 5 hours total with a mass.
Yeah.
In other cultures,
it's 3 days.
It's days. And like, if you remember Jim's wedding, where like when Sam meets up with Mon, she's like, where were you at the earlier ceremony? So there's like the religious ceremony that's like takes the entire morning, and then I guess the wedding, and then like the reception. So like this is probably an all-day affair. So I wonder if because it's so busy, it's harder to like, because usually in like Western weddings, like while the reception's going on and the people are doing what, like the guests are doing their thing, like then there's the wedding photo shoots happen. So I wonder if because it's going to be a royal wedding too, because it's so chaotic, maybe they're like, just do the photos on this day to streamline the event. And maybe it makes it less weird. And because you have different ceremonies, there's usually different outfits you wear in different ceremonies. So maybe they'll like, that is a Western thing that you
But
don't
this
see.
is more than 2 months before the wedding.
Yeah, I mean, you got to schedule it when you got to schedule this garden when you can. What if they came out terrible? Then they would redo it, right? It's got to be perfect. It's Sam's wedding. It's a royal wedding. Anyway, that whole tradition is a bunch of bullshit anyway that has to do with patriarchy, and we're not going to get into that. So let's go back to Sam and Mon. So, all right, it doesn't matter. Kirk's here. Sam's in her wedding gown, so that's got to be terrible for Mon, who's like, I don't want to think about you marrying Kirk, and I got to literally see you in your wedding dress. Wonderful. But like, ultimately, they need to get this over with and see each other so they can move on in a final kind of way, no matter what the outcome is, right? But this, again, the friends set this up because they're like, Mon, we think this is what's best for you. But like Sam did in the earlier scene, at the beginning, they do the same thing where they're like, Mon, it's ultimately your choice. If this is too much for you, this is not what you want, like, you can leave now. Sam doesn't know we're here. Like, no hard feelings. Like, we just think this is a good option, but like, what do you want to do? So Mon, being the brave person,
Jim does not give Mon the choice though, because Kay's the one to give the choice. And Jim's like, okay, but really you should just talk to her.
Right, but like, ultimately it's Mon's choice, despite them setting this up. So Mon, being the brave person that she always is, she chooses to go to the bathroom. Bringing it full circle. Because again, Mon is like struggling with the decision because, like, a part of her knows she has to move on, but the other part doesn't want to, and it's like, this is a shitty situation. And like, Sam ghosting her is not helping.
Well, the bathroom's the perfect place for a shitty situation.
Exactly. So she's like, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to answer your question by not answering your question. So Mon gets up and leaves. Meanwhile, Sam and Kirk are having the most depressing photo shoot ever. It's so depressing. Because Sam can't even like fake a smile at this. Like, she clearly does not want to be here. And like, Kirk is doing his best, but like, I'm sure the grandman would make them redo this because Sam just looks miserable.
They both look really good though.
Yeah, like, they're an attractive looking couple, but Sam is not happy, and it's very obvious.
You can tell there's no love there.
No, none whatsoever. So Sam excuses herself to also go to the bathroom because that's just what you do. And really, Kirk should have been really suspicious of this because she went by herself. And like, if you look at her dress, that's not a dress where you can use a bathroom by yourself. Like, she would at minimum need somebody to carry the train so it doesn't get gross. And like, at maximum needs help disassembling so she could use a bathroom. So this should have been suspicious to him, but it's Kirk. We've said many times, he's not the brightest. He's not the brightest. He's just happy to be there. So Mon left for the bathroom. Sam left for the bathroom. So what happens? They reunite before anyone reaches the bathroom. And we get all these beautiful shots of them like reuniting by bridges, which is nice. So Mon starts us off with some pleasantries and then reminds Sam that she's been ghosting her because, wow. And then she tells Sam, like, hey, like, I've been texting you. You've been ghosting me. I even went to your house to check on you earlier. An interesting language choice is that instead of saying our house, Mon says your house. So to me, that's like evidence of Mon mentally is processing this breakup and mentally moving on by reframing the house. She doesn't see it as hers anymore. And while she's kind of saying at the end of all this, like, Mon has eyes. She's a woman. She has eyes. And so she tells Sam, like, despite all of this, like, you look really beautiful in that gown.
Which, yes.
Yes, agreed. And Sam evades all of the questions that Mon asks her and jumps straight into, like, the grandmam of it all. And Sam's basically like, look, I couldn't, I'm not Nung, obviously. So she's like, I couldn't follow my heart and do what my sister did at the expense of losing my grandmother. And she's like, she took that news so poorly that she was hospitalized, and like, that was literally my fault. So like, I can't live with myself if if she died, like our love could kill someone, Mon. That's how powerful it is. Like that's the consequence. And she's like, I can't live with that. And truly, Mon couldn't live with that either. Like I think if like the grandmother had actually died, I don't think Mon could have lived. I think Mon would have been a changed person forever too, and like would never. I don't think she could cope with that either. So, but like bottom line, like I said previously, like Mon understands Sam loves her family, and that to keep her family, like Sam has to let her go, and for her own well-being, Mon also like just needs to hear it from Sam, because it's one thing to be like a lot, like Mon kind of said, she's like logically I understand all this, but like there's emotions here that's making this difficult. So I think for Mon to like emotionally move on, she needs to hear we're over from Sam for her to like finally move on, because otherwise there's always that like thought in the back of your head, right? And Mon's like, I need to hear it from you, otherwise I won't be able to move on.
Yeah, no, I was trying to figure out if we got there already. Sometimes you go through your notes pretty quickly. Okay. So I'm pretty proud of Mon for not pretending like it was all right when Sam said she's horrible, indecisive, and useless. Like, it could have been really easy for Mon to say, it's all right, or I understand. I have a habit of doing that as well. But she just lets it sink in and tells her to do what she must. Because really, and Mon says that she will always love her. But she's making it known that this is Sam's choice. Like, Sam's the one choosing to end this relationship.
Yes.
Which is important. Because she's like, this is not me. Like, I know it's not me. And I'm not going to pretend like it's not your fault.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, and that's really important for Mon too. Like, even though she's like, I'm the one who's basically coming here looking like I'm ready to move on, I'm not. It's just like, you've made the choice and I'm accepting your choice, basically. And you're right. That takes more maturity than just ghosting somebody for 3 days, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I say this one too?
Oh no, I'm
cool.
Here.
I just wanted to double check real quick.
I understand. These notes are long.
It's so long.
They're so long. So Mon basically takes Sam's hands, which again, grounding gesture, because, and also like, I may never get to touch you again, so let me just do it now. And she's like, Sam, listen, like, you really need to live your life with no regrets. Like, you've been spiraling for a while. This has been hard for you, but like, you got to make your choice and like, be happy with it. Like, you love your family. Like, have no regrets. She's like, I'm always going to love you. She calls her Sham one last time, and then she walks away. But it's super slow, right? So Sam catches up to her and then hugs her from behind. And then we get why this was the thumbnail. like,
yeah, because okay, so this gave away in the beginning that she was going to marry Kirk in the very last episode.
I know, this is the thumbnail on YouTube.
So I believe there's another episode where I'm like, there was this, I feel like I know something, and I'm spoiled for the last episode.
I know. A little spoilery. But anyway, so in the scene, like, Sam is basically like, this is her, again, her conflict. She doesn't want to give Mon up, but she doesn't want to give the grandmother up, and like, you know, blah, blah, blah. I've seen this film before. And so she's asking her now, because like, again, I've seen this film a million times, but like the ending feels like it's going to be different here. So she asked Mon, is this really the end? Like, are we really broken up? Like, for real, for real?
But also, like, what did she expect? Like, she continues to choose other people over Mon. Of course it's over. And if it's, like, that's one of, like, the... So when friends are, like, dating someone, and they constantly do this shit, and they come back to, like, complain about it, I'm like, it's the same thing every time. Do something different. Maybe it'll change.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because like, I think for Sam, again, she always had that little bit of hope that it's going to work out. Love's going to conquer all, despite all the bullshit. We don't need to change stuff too much. I think this feels final. And so I think it's sinking in. Like, you know, the thing that she's been avoiding by ghosting Mon was this outcome.
I'm kind of glad that it was only 12 episodes, so we didn't have to deal with the get back together, break up because of grandmother again. It was starting to really get old.
I agree. But like, at this point, like, I think they've both been in fantasy land when it comes to the relationship a little bit. Like, Sam has been living under the delusion of like, we can have it all and no one will get hurt and everything will be fine. And then Mon was living under the impression of like, this is a fantasy that's not going to last. I'm going to get hurt. And I know that going into this with Sam, but like, this is my dream. I'm going to live my dream anyway. And again, we're at the point where Sam can't pretend that she can save the relationship by like not changing anything, essentially. So Mon replies with like, because Sam's like, is this the end? And Mon replies with, think of this as a new beginning, Sam. And she very bravely walks away and like leaves Sam in her wedding gown, just there. And then we transition with this totally necessary crossfade that Kaitlynn loved, where Mon is walking away on the bridge with Sam in the background, and then we crossfade into Sam.
No, it's from Sam into the bridge scene.
No, it isn't. No, Mon walks across the bridge, and then it crossfades into Sam. I remember this because we get to see more of Mon walking away, and then it basically zooms into Sam in the background by crossfading into Sam.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, it goes from this bridge because like we don't even see. Oh no, I wasn't saying that. I thought it was the other way around. I feel like they've done multiple. I don't know. These crossfades.
There's too many crossfades.
But I have to say is like they don't just do crossfades, they do like the stock setting crossfades. So it's a second long for each crossfade. So when I do the notes, I watched it on 2 times the speed because there's just too much slow-mo for me.
Valid.
Yeah, so they get easier to ignore when it is twice the speed.
They're very slow crossfades.
Which just brings way more attention to it.
I know. I just have to. Sorry, I promise that's the last crossfade I am going to point out.
Is it though? I forget.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think I have any more on here.
I didn't say that you. It was you.
So the last one I'm going to bring up.
No, I think we are done.
All right.
Everyone knows our opinions.
Yeah. So when we were watching this for the first time, we were always like, is Kirk listening to this conversation? Because she like walked 3 feet away, had this heart to heart with Mon, and like, isn't Kirk nearby? And as we predicted, Kirk was literally 3 feet away, and he definitely witnessed this whole conversation because he doesn't really say anything to Sam. He just kind of like holds her while she cries because she's so fucking distraught. She's like, "I'll take a shoulder, any shoulder to cry on." Which Sam crying, like when does Sam cry? Like, Sam would be trying to murder somebody because anger is usually her emotion. But here she is actually crying, which is crazy. And I think that he, is somebody who cares about her and just, I don't think he knows what to do. I think he's like, wow, like, okay, you're truly that unhappy that you're crying. Because, like, last time he confronted her about Mon, it was a yelling match they got into. But here she is, like, openly sobbing. I think he knows he's like, I can't console you and make you happy out of like, you're just going to be I think this is when it really sinks into him that like, wow, she's just going to be miserable, like straight up miserable. Like, what am I doing kind of stuff. I think this is when it really,
I mean, she did warn him.
I mean, she warned him she didn't love him, but not that she was going to be like this depressed, like sad person, because Sam never shows sadness or those kind of emotions,
And he could deal with stoic Sam because there's technically no emotion, but he can't handle the
openly depressed Sam. Yeah, that's harder to ignore, right? All right, so Mon bravely walked away and reunites with the friends and tells them, JK, I didn't go to the bathroom. I was talking to Sam. And so that's over. And I think she tries to tell them, like, because they're like, well, what happened? And I think she tries to tell them we broke up, but she cannot get the words out. Because to say it makes it real, and, it's a lot. And she just starts sobbing. And the friends basically just, like, converge and, like, hug and console Mon. And I want to say something about the way everybody is dressed in this scene. All the friends, all of them, wore some variation of pink in their wardrobe to show their unity, because in unity is strength. A variation of pink.
Tease is very dullish, like,
yeah,
the very least you could get to that, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's some variation. Like, I think that was the showing that they're united with Mon, which I really love. So then we jump ahead, and now it's 2 months later, and Mon is looking
because it has to be, because it's the last episode. I'm sorry, I just hate when shows, books, everything is done, and it's not even this part yet. It's even later that they're just like something changes all of a sudden, everything is fine. I hate that ending.
Yeah,
just to warn everybody for the ending.
Okay, because a lot of things were slow, or but it's fine. All right, so we jump ahead 2 months. And Mon is looking out the window, remembering the painful breakup, showing that, like, moving on is hard, even though she's trying and she's still in her feels. So she's tapped on the shoulder, pulled away from her reverie, and she thinks it's Sam, because that's what she's thinking about, and then she finds Cade. So Cade tells her, listen, we came here so that you could talk to Sam one more time, but Sam she's not going to come talk to you. I'm sorry. And what I assume is that at this point, Mon knows she's moving to Britain. She didn't tell the friends yet, but she knows she's moving. So this is going to be final. So I think that she's like, hey, I need to talk to Sam one more time. She's still ghosting me. I assume this all happened off screen in the 2 months. And she's like, I need to talk to her. So the friends and Sam are talking. That's how they got friends. That's how they got Sam here. But Sam is a coward.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is Mon still working at this company?
Oh yeah, how do they know she's leaving? Maybe she quit. I assume she would have been like, "Fuck this, Sam. I can't see you."
But
there's no way.
Also, like, because I feel like maybe Sam was just like working from home every day, and it's gotten to the point where like Mon's just like so fed up between like dealing with that, being like, I don't know if I'm gonna be seeing Sam today. Is Sam still gonna be acting like I am reading too much into this now? But there has to be something going on. We just don't hear from the company again.
Yeah, I assume Mon quit at some point because I think that would have been too hard for. She's the one who's more actively trying to move on. Sam's avoiding. I think she would have quit to be like, I can't move on if I'm reminded of you or if I see you. So I think she would have just quit. And I don't think Sam or Kirk would have done anything. I think they would have been like, okay, Mon, whatever. So anyway, so again, Mon's goal was to say goodbye to Sam, and like nobody knows that that's the goal. So she's like, well, shit. Basically, Jim, we get a shot of Jim, wide shot. She finally looks like she's about to have that baby. So the pregnancy is kind of, she's in the 3rd trimester. We finally made it.
Finally. It just took a 2-month time jump.
Took that time jump. It comes out in this conversation that basically, like, we're a month out from Kirk and Sam's wedding, which seems to upset Mon. So I think, again, Mon's not fully over Sam, obviously, but she's trying her best. And Cade, who has eyes, notices that Mon's getting upset and is like, Jim, how dare you even mention that? And Jim's like, Mon needs tough love right now. Like, that's Jim. Jim's the tough love friend. She's like, she needs to hear the truth. She needs to move on.
Jim just says everything in her head.
Meanwhile, Jim has never gotten over Sam. So, like, what are you doing, Jim? But truly, I think Jim is right. Like, I think Jim's advice is the one Mon needs to hear. Because think about it, Mon is the one who's had a 13-year crush on Sam. So, like, Jim's like, this bitch needs to move on. It's been 13 years. Like, come on, you gotta go. And Mon's gotta get over this. And then Jim's like, listen, Mon, I understand that you can never fully get over Sam. I get it. Trust me. But you should try to find your own happiness. Like, basically, everyone keeps saying this, like, your happiness can't just be Sam. Like, you got to find something else for you that makes you happy.
I feel like, do we ever get to know what Jim's baby's name is?
No. She never has she has a baby, but no, we don't.
Yeah, I feel like she definitely named it something, like an inside thing between her and Sam.
To remember always. The baby's name is Horn Fuzzy. I'm kidding. Anyway, so Mon's like, thanks, Jim, for caring. I appreciate it. But as you know, Jim, I love her way too much to get over her. And quite frankly, I don't even know if I'm capable of loving anybody like that ever again. I'm just going to be honest. And Jim's like, I get you, Mon. I get you. I mean, look at Sam. She's hot. I get it. So at this point, Mon tells Cade that, and Jim, she's like, okay, I'm going to come clean about why I'm actually here today. I'm here because I'm moving to England to find a new job. So finding a new job, I think she's gone with the company at this point.
She's been talking about this since the very beginning.
So. Well, that was her ultimatum. Yeah. She's like, hey, it doesn't work out with the company. I'm moving to England. So that implies that in the 2 months, it did not work out with the company. She's now going to move to England. Mm-hmm. So she sticks to her word, Mon. She sure does. And also, like, the friends are like, we're going to miss you, but I get it. And I think that, like, putting physical distance between you and Sam is actually going to give you a real shot at, like, starting this new chapter of your life, basically.
This would be sadder if there wasn't phones and technology today to keep in touch.
Yeah, for real.
So I'd hate for her to lose this friend group.
I know. And I don't think she would if she moved, to be honest.
No, they would be like finding every excuse to go visit England.
Jim would just be like, I don't want to be with my baby. It cries too much. I'll be here.
Be like, yeah, I just put him with my husband. Or no, with this guy. Oh, wait, no. My husband. I'm sorry. I forgot.
The one that snores. With Earth. All right. So Mon makes the friends promise not to tell Sam because I think she doesn't want Sam to worry. She says, I don't want Sam to worry about me. But I think, like, part of that's true. But I also think that Mon is worried about how Sam would take that news, which would be terribly. And so, like, there's still, like, there's a concern of, like, mutual worrying from Mon. She's like, I'm worried about Sam, how she's going to take it, and then she's going to be worried about me. And, like, I don't want that. So let's just, no one's going to move on. I just need to just go and, like, Sam can't find out about this. Because I think the other piece, too, is literally what ends up happening. She's like, if Sam finds out, she's going to try and stop me, and then I'm going to cave because I'm not fully strong at this point. So I think Mon's like, we need to be in different countries, basically. So Mon leaves Cade and Jim to go find Yuki. And while Jim and Cade walk off to find Sam, who's been hiding in the shadows like the stalker / coward that she is. And she basically doesn't say anything this whole scene. She just stares wistfully in the direction that Mon walked out. Which, interesting. I also find it really odd that, like, Sam was basically here and then didn't hear any of this conversation that Mon was having with her friends. Like, maybe she was too far away, but, like, it's Sam. I feel like Sam would have tried to listen, but who knows?
TV magic, Theora.
TV magic. So Jim lays into Sam for being mean to Mon by refusing to meet her. Like, Mon came all the way out here, and Sam, like, literally ghosted her again. And to really, like, get Sam to get her head out of her ass, she almost tells Sam that Mon is leaving for England, but Cade stops her.
Okay, no, I think that was on purpose. That was not a slip. That was, like, her telling her. Because I feel like she's just, like, telling everyone everything.
Oh, yeah.
And then Cade's just like, bitch, what did Mon just tell you?
Literally. Respect her wishes. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Sam, I don't even know if she hears any of this conversation. She's just the whole time staring very longingly in the direction that Mon left. So, Sam's clearly not okay. Then we head back to Mon in her OG room, where she's very sadly disassembling the stalker wall. Finally, the stalker wall is coming undone. Piece by piece. Over the course of, it takes her several days to disassemble the stalker wall, because we keep crossfading, and she's wearing, there you go. She's wearing different clothes a couple of times. So it took a few days.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
But she saves one photo of Sam, like her most gorgeous headshot. She's like, I'm going to keep this one, put it in my little memory box. The rest of the stalker wall can go. And then eventually all that's left on the whiteboard is a picture of herself, of Mon, and then the message, go to England. So to me, it transformed from, like, the stalker wall, the Sam shrine, into, like, an inspiration board. Like, Mon's putting good vibes out there. She's like, I'm moving on. Next chapter, like, boom, here it is. You know?
Well, I hope it wasn't a reminder, because I hope she wouldn't just forget to go to England.
Yeah, go to England. Don't forget.
It's also, I don't know if it's important to note, but I'm going to do it anyway. She does the thing where you, like, start big, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm running out of room, and it gets smaller. It was not relevant at all, but there you go.
It's go to England. She had to remember the go part, Kaitlynn. It's a reminder. So what's Sam doing? Sam is back at the Grandmam's zoning out while the Grandmam is trying to plan the wedding. And I imagine this is how planning the wedding went the whole time. Anytime Sam was involved, she was just like, what? And yeah, anyway. And the grandmother's, like, trying to, like, involve her. She's like, do you like this, Sam? And she's like, Sam. And Sam's like, what? Sure, whatever. Kirk. Yeah, sounds great. Like, she's mentally not in this room. And the Grandmam's like, huh, that's weird. Sam is being weird. And we cut to dinner, where Sam pulls a Charlie Spring from Heartstopper and is playing with her food, but not eating it. And the grandmam notices this. She's like, are you sure you're done eating, Sam? You didn't eat a damn thing. And Sam's like, yeah, no, I'm excusing myself. I'm going to go to my room. I have Sam things to do. And she tries to get up and like has low blood glucose and almost faints because her blood pressure's low. See a doctor. And she's not eating. So she's just like,
They need to have an on-call doctor that lives in this house.
They need a family physician. They really do. Like literally one who lives at the house. Good Lord. All right. And it's like the fainting episode is what, almost fainting is what really gets the grandmother's attention. She's like, yeah, Sam's been weird over the past 2 months. Like she's still in this funk. But then it's like, wow, she's at the point where she's not eating. She almost collapsed. And I wonder if part of it is because like the grandmother just had her own healthcare scare. But it's also like she's getting song flashback. She's like, okay, Sam's behavior is tiptoeing into self-harm territory. And so like she now cannot ignore how absolutely miserable Sam is. Because if you look at Sam, it's like the spark of life has been completely snuffed out of her and she's just this ghost. Like the shell of a person who's just like floating around the mansion, like not really there, just like not really eating, just like inhabiting the space is basically it. All right. Then, oh, sorry, go ahead, Kaitlynn.
No, you're good. Keep going.
Okay. Then we cut to a flashback of Sam when she was younger with the grandmam, and she's playing a piano for her. And recall, this is the activity that Nung was learning, but she hated in the whole like conceal, don't feel flashback we talked about. Sorry. It's the best way to sum that up.
A line in the first time in forever.
Ah.
So I was like wondering how I picked that together. I was like, yeah, that is the line right before don't let them know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Okay, so in the flashback, the grandmam is clearly very proud of Sam, and Sam is happy her music is making her grandmother happy. And it shows once again, that there is real love between the two of these that got very twisted over time due to fear when the grandmother was afraid she was going to lose Sam and started trying to control her more, because she wanted Sam to be safe. And it was also twisted on Sam's end by her fear of displeasing her grandmother as a sign of being ungrateful, etc. So you can see that, like, at the core, like, these two really do love each other. And side note, I really love the way they framed this in the flashback where they use the piano, like, it's from, like, the top of the piano, and it uses the piano to, like, kind of, like, frame them in the shot. It's really, the camera work is really great on this show.
This show is very artistic. It's just they don't use some things. Like, there's some things that match the way that we're used to, and then other things where they're, like, throwing it in.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this was a beautiful frame. I love the way they shot this. Mm-hmm. Importantly, in this flashback, the other reason we're getting this is because Sam promises at this stage to never leave the grandmother. And Sam has said multiple times in the show, I always keep my word. And so because this was the first promise she made, I think this is part of why when she makes promises to Mon, they don't pan out, because she's like, I promised grandma first. So, okay. And remember, we're seeing this flashback from the grandmother's point of view. So in the present, the grandmother's like, well, I have Sam. Sam kept her word to me. She didn't leave me. She is here. But, like, is she here? She's not mentally here, and she almost collapsed at the table. So the grandmother has to process the fact that, like, is physically having Sam's body here, like, worth it? Because I'm forbidding Sam from her true source of happiness, and, like, that's clearly making her miserable. So this is a moment of reflection for the grandmother as she's, like, kind of, like, processing the reality of, like, quote, getting what she wants, And the last piece of this is why I think this is an important flashback for the grandmother to be having at this moment, is because it serves as a reminder to her of what Sam is like when she's truly happy. Like, that was a moment where Sam was genuinely happy, like playing the piano and, like, making her grandmother happy. So it serves as, like, a stark contrast to the grandmother to be like, that's the happy little Sam that I remember. And, like, look at Sam's recent behavior. Like, the stark contrast is so powerful that, like, the grandmother has no choice but to, like, question this master plan for Sam, because it's like night and day, like, the personality change. Then off screen, Mon gets a haircut,
which I find really random.
Yes, me too. I mean, go go, Mon. Let me get a new chapter, new haircut. But like,
usually it would happen in like the 2 months later thing.
right.
But no, this is just like randomly.
Here she is. I mean, it looks great, Mon. Even the parents are like, Mon, it looks great. Love the new do. But the dad's like, you know, you probably should have done this before you went to England where it gets cold as fuck. You should invest in a scarf because your neck's gonna get cold.
I wonder if he did that because he doesn't want her to go. And he's like, how much does it snow there?
Yeah, you should probably wait for your hair to grow back before you move. Yeah, the parents, like, both of them are very sad. I think very sad that she's leaving, showing it, expressing it in different ways, but like they're sad she's leaving. Obviously, because the minute he makes this comment, like the mom is like starting to sob. She's very heartbroken. Her only daughter's leaving. So Mon goes to console her, like sits next to her on the couch. And the dad's like, you know, you gotta stop worrying about Mon so much. Like they're just very cute and loving, and I adore them.
I love that he is such a good stepfather. Because like a lot of times step parents are just, you know, this is another Disney thing, the step parents are evil. But he truly loves Mon like she is her own. I wonder, I don't know if we know when they got together, like when he came into her life.
I don't think it's explained.
No matter what, like he acts like her father when she's with him. But he also tells her mom that her father is also living in England. Mon is going to be fine. And she is his kid too, because the mom tries to be like, but she's my baby. No one can take care of her as well as I could. And he's like, her dad, she's his child too. Which, I mean, does not always correlate to will be taken care of, because, you know, not all parents are equal. But I'm assuming that because
she's
she
also
wants
an adult,
to go there,
so it's a little easier to
the relationship is
take
fine.
care of an
She
adult
will be
than it
just
is to
fine
take
with
care of
it.
a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, but emotionally, you still need to be there for them.
Especially because, I mean, who knows what Mon was like at home in the breakup? You know how Sam looks like a ghost? Like, who knows how sad? Like, Mon was probably, I assume, moping around the house. And so maybe that made them worry a little bit too, that maybe she's not ready. Maybe she won't be okay. Like, Lady Sam hasn't been coming around. Who knows what she told them, you know? So maybe they're a little worried too about like the timing of this, maybe, perhaps. But basically, ultimately, like they're like, look, Mon, it's your life. And the mom's like, I'm ready to like, I'm sad, I'm gonna miss you, but like I support you no matter what you want to do with your life. And I think this little Pearl is very much a like hint that like her parents are gonna be super accepting with her relationship with Sam for the future too. Just which we've suspected the whole time based on this family, but like they ultimately just want Mon to be happy. That's all.
There was never a question about it, but
no, never.
Always good for reassurance.
Yeah, always good to have that confirmed, because we jump cut and we don't see any of that. So like, here we go. I mean, we're gonna jump cut. Spoiler.
Yeah, but for people in the LGBTQ community, you do need that constant reassurance, because you never know how someone will react.
For sure. I mean, judging with Sam and her family, like, yeah, I think it's good to contrast the families.
Yeah.
Also. But the dad's favorite TV show is on, so everyone needs to stop talking so we can watch this. And as we do, we kind of get this shot of Mon just like looking a little conflicted, because I think she is nervous about leaving her life, leaving Thailand. It's been a very long time since she's like been away from her mom, and like it's a big, you know, not just like a new chapter. It's a very big change to be like, I'm quite literally leaving everything and going to a different country and stuff. So I think she's a little like nervous and conflicted, but like I think she knows that she needs to move on, and this is the best way to do it, you know. All right, so while Mon is having this cute moment with her family, Sam is having a dramatic moment in the mansion. She's basically standing at an open window, like sobbing and toying with her the engagement bracelet and the wedding ring, the pink one, because she's just heartbroken, like bottom line. And she can't cry in her room. She has to do this dramatically by this window because it's the best window in the house.
Is it the same window that Mon was staring at?
Was Mon in this house?
Oh, I don't know. I do not remember where we were.
No. They met. They didn't meet at the. They would never meet at the Grandmams. They were at some other. I don't even know where they were. That would have been wild if it was here. I actually don't know if they didn't explain where the hell they were.
Yeah, no, because it just seemed like a different place. Like it had a
It
different
did.
feeling.
Right.
In my head, at one point, I thought it was the wedding, and she was overlooking this wedding happening, for some
That would
reason.
have sucked.
I don't know. That's where my brain went.
Yeah, it's never explained where the hell they were. But anyway, that's an interesting thought. Because Sam would do that. She'd be like, Mon was standing here. I have to stand here. She is that person. Anyway, while she's having this dramatic moment, the grandman finds her because Sam is out in the open doing this. And she's like, Sam, the wedding is in a few days. You need to rest. Like, what is the wedding? The wedding's not tomorrow. She'll be fine. But anyway, she's like, you look exhausted. You've been almost fainted at dinner. Like, come on, you need to get some rest, basically. She's worried about her. And Sam's just like, fuck. So she like tries to compose herself the best that she can. She like wipes her face, hides the jewelry, and then does an endearing dumbass Sam move where she like uses her long hair to like, I know, to like hide her face. And she walks past the grandmother, which totally works. Like, I needed dumbass Sam before the end of the show. So I'm glad this was in here because this is such a Sam move. And so shockingly, this does not work because the grandmother's like, I can see you. You're not actually a ghost yet. So the grandmam stops her and she's like, Sam, this is when she flat out tells her, like, you are my favorite grandchild, in case you were confused. And listen, I would do anything to make you happy. I was like, anything? Would you do anything? Really? Like the way Sam was like, Mon, I'll give you everything, and then did not give Mon everything. It runs in the family, I guess. But you know, while that's an enticing opener, Sam is too like triggered and just upset. She was crying over Mon. She's like, I don't want to hear any of this. I already chose you. So she just like excuses herself and just goes to bed for real, or it's a sob in another room. Like, who knows? So this leaves the grandmother to just like mull things over even more. Because again, the evidence is stacking up that like Sam's not getting over this. It's only getting worse. And she's stepping into self-harm territory, which not good. So we don't resolve this. Instead, we jump ahead 2 weeks later. So halfway through the month, 2 weeks out from Sam.
I would want to point out
yes.
a lesbian first date is 3 days, but everything else happens in multiple of twos for the queers.
Yes, you're correct. That's just the thing. It's always 2 weeks. So if they would reunite with a 2-week deadline. It's a gay thing. See all the queer media I've talked about on the show for the evidence. All right, so it's 2 weeks later. Mon is now leaving for England. So I love that she's like, I'm not sticking around for Sam's wedding. I'm just going to leave before this even starts. So the queers all arrive at Mon's parents' house to escort her to the airport, which is really, really sweet for a lot of reasons. A, they're supporting her, but B, because like the rich ones have private cars, like Mon's family doesn't. So it's actually really courteous of them to even offer this because otherwise Mom would have to take public transport and it would take even longer to get to the airport. So like Mon gets to have more time with her family because Tia's picking her up, which is a really, really sweet actually on a lot of levels.
Also, that friend group definitely would not, like, they would be like, we're the last people to see you before you go.
Yeah, exactly. So this was really cute. And then Nop doesn't show up. So Yuki's like, yeah, Nop told me he has to work and he can't come see you. And I'm like, okay, really? Because Nop the whole show has been conveniently free to like lurk in just the right place at just the right time to twat block Sam and Mon the whole show. But here she is leaving for England and he can't see her. Like, I assume scheduling conflict with the actor because like Nop would 100% ditch work to say goodbye to Mon. Like
maybe they also didn't have the time to have a scene with him because he's definitely a friend where they'd need to have a scene together because they haven't in a little while.
Yeah, I agree. I hope at the very least he showed up with food the night before. That's a Nop move.
Also, she's kind of been growing apart from him. Like he's only been there for her when she is heartbroken from Sam, and I feel like maybe that's taken a toll on him too because that is a crappy friendship on his side. Like he's always there for her, but she's like never thinking about him from what we see, at least.
Mon, be a better friend. What the hell?
There is because it's so focused on just Sam and Mon's relationship. I'm like, this poor friend group is always dealing with this shit every single day.
Oh, I know. I feel that.
My update. We have just gotten insider info. Not that insider though. Okay, so a Patreon member. Their first name is Brie, I believe.
Yes.
They have commented. I mean, yeah. Okay, well, we were filming when we got the comment in. The married lesbians that we keep talking about on the Isle of Lesbos are getting their series adapted currently.
What?
Yeah, so their series is called Mate. And it's based on novels. So I assume that this is a whole
It's a
universe, but they all have books
That's
that are being
awesome.
adapted. Lux will be reprising her role. So I believe that, what are the names again?
It's Cher and Rissa.
I think it's Cher.
I think so too.
Yeah, Cher is the taller one.
Yeah, she's the one that fights Sam.
Yeah, I believe she's the one reprising her role. But it's really weird if you're not going to have the other person in it too.
But that's cool though. I want that
They
story.
also believe another lesbian couple who live on the lesbian isle are also getting their series adapted. But they don't believe casting has been finished for that yet.
Nice. See, Idol Factory Cinematic Universe. I'm here for this. Everything's connected through that house, though, I'm saying.
Right now, it's the universe of Lesbos.
It's the Isle of Lesbos, too. I'm here for this. Thanks, Brie. You've been giving us so many amazing, insider info on our Patreon, and we
Brie Indigo has been great. Nancy.
Yes,
I mean, everyone has been great, but these are, people who have been consistently commenting.
Yes. Friend of the podcast.
And
Nancy,
being nice about it.
Yes. Yes. We appreciate it. It brings us so much joy. All right, speaking of joy, so again, the friends are all gathered at Mon's parents' house to see her off, right? Except Nop, who probably said bye off screen like we theorized. So T, I love. T is a very good gentlewoman. T brings the car, T drives everybody, and then also when Mon's dad goes to get the luggage, T helps take the luggage into the car, good gentlewoman. This gives Mon more time to say goodbye to her mother. Because, the mom's it will never be enough time to say goodbye to my child. And the dad's you've been doing this all night. You didn't even let her
you
sleep.
didn't let her go all night long.
Stop saying she can sleep on the plane, okay? You need to let go.
My mom physically would definitely be like that.
I'll be whatever. And be mad. Anyway. No, she'd be sad. She was sad when I moved to California. I was, so I get it. Anyway, so Mon, then Mon makes this big speech where she's like, thank you, everybody, especially my friends who came all the way out here to support me and caring enough to take me to the airport in your private car. I appreciate literally everybody. And everyone's like, yes, Mon, we accept your thank you. Except Jim, Jim's like, I take thanks in the payment of European treasures. So go get me a gift while you're there and send it to me. And that's how you can thank me.
The response should have been, okay, Jim, they don't have Venmo, but Venmo me money and I'll get you something.
I'll send you some euros. Is that good? Bitch. Jim's like, I take payment in gifts, material possessions. Thank you.
And that is why she has a husband, because he probably just bought her off. She's like, okay, give me more.
Oh, Brie, if you're listening, is Jim getting the Sex Life of College Girl spinoff that we keep talking about?
And if not, can you somehow make that a thing?
Can we get questions about Jim? It doesn't even matter when. We made so much stories about Jim. I love Jim.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Jim
God.
became a bigger character for us than I think we even thought before we started doing these episodes.
It's the best. I know.
And that's what happens with this podcast and why it's amazing to do.
Yeah. I mean, when we did Big Witch Energy, we basically took one random character and we're just like, what are they doing off screen on every single episode? So Jim is my Isadora. What is Jim doing off screen? Because Jim is the best.
But also Jim would be doing the most random things.
I want to see what she's doing off screen for this reason. It'd be hilarious.
Could you imagine
Anyway.
Jim and Isadora meeting though?
No.
It'd be really random.
No.
It'd be a really random world.
Absolutely
That's probably
not.
my favorite
Those universes should not collide.
thing of the Big Witch energy was
All right.
like, what were they doing off screen? Just as a side comment. Oh yeah, yeah. It was
Oh yeah, because
Very
Cole's been
exciting.
listening since then. And now
Those are
Cole's
what it is.
here.
I was never good at that part of it. I just
So tell us, what was Jim doing off screen?
I
want to see
what
Jim and
she's
the
not
baby.
doing. She is not reading baby books.
No, she's not learning how to be a mother. Not at all. Which I love. I do love that. I love that about her. Love it. I love when we see her eventually without the baby, what she's doing. This is why I love her. Anyway, so before we get there, Yuki's like, all right.
I'm sorry. Her husband definitely wanted the kid. And so like he
Yes.
just kind of talked her into it. And he's like, I'll buy you something pretty for it.
Yeah, he bought her a European treasure so that he can keep the baby. And she's like, I guess. He bought her a house in Lesbos. She asked for it. He's like, is this what you want? Okay. I want that spinoff so badly with Jim. Anyways, okay, so we could be here all day talking about Jim. So Yuki gathers everybody for a group photo. She's like, we're all saying goodbye. We're all here. Let's say goodbye. So they take a photo. And in the photo, this is where I might need help from people. Mon like distributes the photo somehow. I can't tell if she texts it to people or if she puts it on Facebook. There's like an icon. I can't fully tell if that's Line or
it looks like Instagram.
Yeah, maybe it's Instagram.
Like the post, and like maybe it was a screenshot of the post. But it looks like her friends posted it on.
Okay, I couldn't tell because it also looks like it could be like a WhatsApp thing. That would make more sense for like the sequence of events, but I couldn't tell because like I can't read it and it's not translated.
No, I mean, yeah, it might just be that she put the photo on Facebook because it does have the world thing on it. So that means
right. That's where I was like, that's where I thought it was social media. The only reason I was also confused is because the people who respond are all the diversity people, and they specifically have a group chat together. So that's why I was like, is this a group chat or is this like they just happen to be the ones commenting?
I think she posted it wherever on social media, screenshot it, and then put it in their group chat just to keep people updated.
Perfect. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you for connecting those dots. Then later on makes sense. Okay. Because then the diversity pop, well, the diversity really company is everybody's starting to be like, don't forget about us, Mon, use our group chat. Like, we love you. Basically everybody. And that's how we get closure with all that, essentially.
Yeah. And so we don't forget that they're a thing. Like that was our diversity update.
Yeah. That's the company, the state of the company. What's going on with the company? Who the fuck knows? But everybody's wishing Mon safe travels. So literally at this point, we have confirmation that Mon has had a goodbye from everybody, even Nop off screen, from everybody except Sam, right? Because she went to go say goodbye. That never happened. Mon's not texting Sam anymore. So I think she's like, oh, everybody said goodbye to me except Sam. So like her mind starts wandering into Sam territory, right? Because she's driving to the airport. Like it's happening. She's leaving. So she pulls up their first photo together, that awkward as fuck Sam photo. And Mom's like giggling at it because like it's endearing and how cute and awkward she was. And then
how many things have happened since that photo?
Yeah, it's a whole lifetime has happened, right? So Mon kind of like soaks in the memory. And then she deletes the photo and then turns her phone off. And I think, again, she's like, listen, I'm not going to hear from her. If I can't say goodbye to her for real, like, this is me getting closure. I'm just out of sight, out of mind. I'm leaving you behind in Thailand and all of my feelings, and I'm going to go move on. Question, though. Because, remember, she disassembled the stalker wall. She's deleting photos. Whatever happened to that jacket Sam gave her? Remember the one in the episode where she's like, Mon, that shirt is really thin. I've been staring at it. Here's my jacket.
Oh,
what happened to that jacket? Because did she pack that?
I feel like in the very beginning, she probably would have dropped it off to Sam the next time she saw her, just because they weren't at that place where she kept her clothes. Like, even though, like, she was still her idol at that point and she'd want to keep it, she'd just be like, oh, I should give this back now. Because this shouldn't be something I should have.
But also, the stalker in Mon is like, she did give this to me. And Sam will never ask for it back. She's like, I'll keep it. I'm going to keep it until she asks for it back. And Sam forgot about the fucking jacket. Let's be real. So I'm like,
got many jackets.
She's got so many jackets. So I'm like,
might have just
Mon
dropped it off outside of Sam's
like,
house or something, as a like, so I still think about you, but I'm ready to move on. Like, this is the last thing of you that I have. So maybe she just was like, goodbye.
Or she like gave it to Jim. She's like, Jim, can you give this to? Wait,
I thought you meant you give the Jim for Jim to have.
This is off screen. Off screen. This is what Jim is doing off screen. So basically, Mon is like, I can't, because Mon's not the type of person who could just like leave it without seeing Sam. I don't think Mon is that person who's just gonna dump your shit and walk away. So I think she's like, I can't do that. So I need to get rid of this. So she gives it to Jim. She's like, Jim, can you drop this off at Sam's? And Jim's like, absolutely. And then Jim keeps the jacket and never gives it to Sam.
Mm-hmm. Because Jim is definitely like the stalker, being like, this is mine now. I shall look at it forever.
She keeps it under her pillow and she just like smells it at night. That's where the jacket lives with Jim. That's what happened. Okay. So meanwhile, while Mon's on her way to the airport, we head on her back to the grandmams. Where she summons Sam for a heart-to-heart. Like, a real one, finally. And the grandmam tells Sam, she's like, listen, it is abundantly clear that you are unhappy. And the reason I know this is because I cracked Nung's contrarian code decades ago. I knew what your bitches were doing the whole time. Because you're not that subtle. And she's like, also, you were quite literally crying, staring at a window last night. Like, I saw it through your bangs. Like, come on now. So, and she's like, I knew you were going to be sad about Mon. Because, like, I think she had eyes, and she's like, clearly these two are not giving up on each other. But, like, she's like, I was hoping you'd move on from the heartbreak, and this wasn't that serious. But, like, it's very evident that you're not moving on, and you can't process this for some reason. And, like, she's worried that, like, she's like, Sam, you're just getting more and more depressed and doing some self-harm stuff, and I'm actually legitimately worried about you. And she's like, she's scared, like genuinely scared. She was scared of losing Sam. Now she's like, I'm losing you, and I might lose you for real. So like, the grandmam can't live with that either. Like, you know, because she loves Sam at the end of the day. So, and so I think she finally came to the conclusion that she's like, yeah, I wanted to physically have you here, and keep you safe, but like at the expense of like you suffering, it's not worth it, essentially, because I think their happinesses are ultimately intertwined, right? So if Sam is happy, you know, we saw the flashback where Sam was like, grandmother, you're happy. That makes me happy. I think the grandmother feels the same way about Sam. She's like, your happiness makes me happy. And we had this whole conversation in the past episode. Go listen to that, about how like what the grandmother was defining as happiness is not the same as Sam's modern take on it. But I think she's coming around to be like, okay, self-harm territory. Like, I can't have you doing that. That would break my heart forever. So, yeah, because I think she's getting Song PTSD, where she's like, and I really think if this didn't happen and something happened to Sam, I don't think the grandmother would survive that, honestly, if Sam like harmed herself in some way or something bad happened to Sam, you know. So.
Because she knows it's her fault.
Yeah, and ultimately I think she admits in this conversation too, like later at some point, she's like, yeah, Sung was my fault. Like, I admit it. Like, that, I see that now, like seeing you and like really, because, you know, surface level, I think she was paying attention to the other granddaughters, but like she's really watching Sam and she's like, wow, this must have been what Song was going through. And like, I think a lot of things are clicking that she was because again, Sam and the grandmam are the same. They behave the same way. I think that she was also just like compartmentalizing and ignoring and not really like processing Song's situation or processing why Nung really left. She's like, she disobeyed me. That's it. Whereas with Sam, she's being forced to really confront like, did my actions do this? Where I don't think she did that before. And so I think she's like connecting a lot of dots with like the sisters through Sam in this moment, and eventually comes to the conclusion that like, yeah, that was my fault. Like, and if that happened to you, Sam, I couldn't survive it. Like, let's be honest. But the grandmother like didn't just get there on her own. She was getting there. But another thing that really pushed her over the edge was an objective third party. So in walks Kirk in a flashback. I have questions about this flashback because it's the same scene as the night before. So after the grandmam catches Sam crying and Sam does the bangs move to get out of there, the grandmam goes over to this little table that's got the granddaughter's photos on it. She's looking at the photos, and then it ends there. Then we get the rest of the flashback. They do this a couple of times where we get the flashback, then we get the rest of the flashback. And so in the rest of the flashback, Kirk shows up, and he's already in the house. So how long was he in this house? Is my question, because nobody lets him in. He's just behind the corner. So did he watch Sam sobbing? How long was he in the house? Did they have a meeting planned? And
I feel he has a set meeting a day with the grandmother, and he does other things for her as well, which is probably why he became Sam's business partner and was set up with Sam.
Yeah,
because there has to definitely be other stuff going on.
No, I thought that too. I'm we've seen them just have meetings, so I'm I wonder if this is his standing appointment, and he just awkwardly witnessed all of this stuff, and the grandmother was so distracted she forgot about him, because it's Kirk. All the women forget about him. I get it.
Anybody ever always forgets about him.
I feel another name of the show could have been
everybody hates Chris. Everybody forgets about Kirk.
That sounds like it'd be a sitcom.
Exactly.
Or everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody forgets Kirk. It's the alternate name of the show. All right, so anyway, he's here because beside their standing appointment, he's we need to call off this wedding because Sam is miserable. He saw it at the wedding shoot. He's been seeing it for all the months. She just saw her crying. He's listen, I care about Sam, I really do, and that's why I'm asking you to call off the wedding, because she deserves to be happy on her own terms instead of this thing that we're doing. Interesting it took him this long to come up with this conclusion, since that was Sam's rationale for starting the company in to begin with, because she wanted happiness by her own choice. So I'm glad he eventually finally figures out what Sam really wants to be happy. I just feel sorry for Sam that it took her shattering her heart in a million pieces for all of the people in her life to be oh, Sam was happy,
I don't understand why it took him so long to do this part, though, because he says that he cares about her, and there is some things that he does that show us that. But if he truly cared, he would have gone to the grandmother a long time ago and been hey, this is not for her. This is what needs to happen. This can't be a thing. Sorry, a dog just walked into the room and distracted the shit out of me.
I was just going to say, I don't think the grandma
I agree with you.
Accepted the Kirk being I don't think this is what she wants until this point. I don't think she would have accepted that fate, I guess. Who's to say he didn't? I mean, he could have. We don't know.
But he could have tried.
I agree. I agree with accepting it, but I feel she trusts Kirk, and I feel if he would have started bringing up she's straight up miserable, perhaps the grandmother would have processed some of the stuff too and noticed things a little bit sooner versus
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe
I think the only time Kirk would have actually pieced things together was during those photos, that photo shoot that they did. I think that was I don't think he would have, because he was in his own own little world with all of the trying to save, planning a wedding, trying to save the company. He just was not in the same universe as what was actually happening with Sam and Mon. Yeah, right.
Well, also, Sam doesn't interact with him when she doesn't have to. So, he probably didn't see her. That was probably the first time he saw her in 2 months. And it was wow, okay, you look really miserable. But I just feel bad for Sam that it literally took her breaking her heart for the people that care about her to see her pain, kind of thing. So, because when she tried to explain this to people, they're yeah, whatever, Sam. So that's really shitty for her.
Okay, so this is really random to even throw in here, but I just noticed it, that I'm wearing their colors.
Hell yeah, I know. I wore pink for the finale. It's all about the pink. Good job, Kaitlynn.
gray.
All right,
Okay.
so
I'll take it.
you wore Sam's color. You wore gray, Cole. Yeah, we did that. Yeah. All right, so let's go back to the present. Sam is like, who are you and what did you do with my grandmother? Just like, what do you mean? And the grandmam is like, well, Kirk asked to call off the wedding, but like, so I think they did have this conversation where like, Kirk has been asking to call off the wedding, and I was like, no, like, let's keep it going because, you know, the grandmother thought she was doing the right thing. But this is when the grandmother comes to the conclusion that, like, you know, your sister was right. Like, I was being selfish by trying to get you guys to do what I wanted without really like taking your thoughts and your feelings into consideration, you know? So it's like, it's patriarchal decision making is really what it is. Where you're like, you're doing this versus like shared decision making, where it's like, this is what I think you should do. What do you want to do? Which is how medicine works now, in case you were wondering. So Sam, oh my god, wait. Okay, so the grandmother then like kind of ends this by telling Sam something she really needed to hear, where she's like, Sam, you've always been my favorite. You've always been the best grandchild. Like, you've done enough. Like, go live your life the way you want to. Like, basically saying like, you don't owe me obligation when it comes to this anymore. Like, you just go be yourself. It's fine.
Which is different from the beginning of 11 when they were having a conversation of the grandmother saying, like, I always do so much for you. Now it's time you do something for me. When literally Sam lives her life for her grandmother.
Yep. Yeah, because I think the grandmother had her epiphany off screen and was like, this is killing
Yeah,
Sam.
but it would have been nice to see that because it just feels like the grandmother did a 180 again for like the finale thing. That just everything flips and all of a sudden everything's fine.
Yeah, it's because they did her like processing like back to back with back to back scenes versus like kind of sprinkling.
Mm-hmm. So it just seems very sudden.
Sure. All right. And then the grandmother says something that we need to hear as the audience, where she says, you deserve to be with the person you choose. Basically giving Sam permission to go get Mon. But she's basically like, listen, even though I just signed off on this, just don't be slutty in public. Like, you're a lady. Like, you know, wait until after I'm dead to like gay it up all over the place.
Yeah,
right,
so it seems like you can do whatever you want at home, just don't be overly affectionate outside.
Yeah, basically. She's like, wait till I'm dead and I can't see it anymore.
But how convenient that she decides this right as Mon is leaving for the airport.
Super convenient. Yeah. But Sam's response to hearing this is really, really cute. We get that like childhood smile from Sam, like the unencumbered, like true happiness kind of smile, which is really adorable. But and then when this follows up with she's smiling, the grandmother, apparently this is too much. She's like, this smile is terrifying.
She's like, your happiness is like a little scary.
Oh my god, it's off the charts. Like, what the hell? Go cry by the window. This is weird. Sam. Poor Sam. She can't win no matter what. All right, so now that the generational curse is broken, Sam is like, I gotta go get Mon now. So she runs to go get Mon. But she doesn't know where she's running to because she's been ghosting literally everyone for months. And Mon's phone's off at this point. So she's like, fuck, what do we do? And she's like, Lady Duan car, take me to Mon. She just tells the car, and the car starts driving. And so technology, I guess. That's what happens. And she just starts driving. No plan. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's just like, car, let's go get Mon. Sam is wild.
Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of your next point but then she calls Jim. Okay, but Jim doesn't respond though. So that makes Jim happy. But like I don't understand how that helps her find them.
Okay, so I think this comes back to the social media, and I think Jim does do something. So, okay, because from the back seat, when she gets the call, Mom's like zoned out. Jim looks at T and like they make eyes in like the rear view mirror, and T's like, don't. But Jim's like, I'm gonna. And I'm pretty sure she tips off Sam, and I wonder if she sends her the social media, because she gets eventually ends up seeing the social media post. I think Jim sent it, like either look on Insta or like I think she sent her something because she like
maybe she turned the location on because I know there's like location sharing that you can have with people.
Possibly something where I think like, because I wonder if it was a social media post, if like Mon put like going to the airport,
mm-hmm.
And so like there's like one highway to get to the airport. And I wonder if that's just how she kind of ran
that's
into them.
yeah.
It could have been that, or I think Jim did something to tip off Sam. I just don't know what it was.
Jim's like, if I can't be happy with Sam, then Mon has
I
to.
want Mon, exactly. So Jim's like, that's why T's like, don't do it. Mon didn't want you to tell her. Because Jim has been itching to be like, Sam, she's leaving. So I think she did it here. She's like, fuck it. It's too important.
And T's like, this girl just needs to get out of here.
Yeah,
live her
like,
life.
T's like, she needs a new girl. Like, come on, man.
Because she also has to hear it from Yuki. Because Yuki talks to Mon all the time. So, like, T's just, like, sick of hearing the drama.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that adds to why I think Jim does something is because what she says, like, is she says after this with the phone, she's like, she quickly confesses, she's like, the stupid Han is going to be confused. It might be confused. Like, she says it, like, out of nowhere. She's like, Sam might be a little confused. Like, just like that. Because I think she texts Sam
in the scene.
Yes, I think she texts Sam something. And
that is really. Hold on, I don't remember that. And
yeah, it's really out of nowhere. She just says it out loud to the car. She's like, Sam might be a little confused. Because I think she just told her what was happening. And so, because
she's like,
what do you mean you're going to the airport? Like, no context. Mon is going to England. Yeah.
Yeah,
so I
think
she
didn't know any of it.
Exactly. And because T is like, she's like, Jim, what the hell? Why are you saying this? Like, yeah, I think that was the hint that Sam's going to find them. But then quickly she's like, the baby made me say it.
Oh,
which is,
yeah, okay.
Remember? Yes, which is code for I did something I wasn't supposed to do, aka the baby did it. Yeah, I think Jim tips off Sam somehow. How exactly, I'm not sure. I just know that Sam eventually gets to the Insta post or whatever. I think this was all Jim. But Sam doesn't see it because she's still driving aimlessly, trying to find Mon. And no one's picking up. And Sam's getting mad because she's never been on the receiving end of ghosting before. She finally learned what it's like. She had
that one instance of Mon ignoring her calls, but then she like just literally shows up.
She shows up, right? And I'm pretty sure she probably did this now. Was like, I'm gonna go to Mon's house and figure out where she is, but like no one was home because they're buying groceries or whatever. Because Sam's not there. They're at their grocery store getting groceries. Basically, that's when she like stops the car finally because she's been driving aimlessly. So she stops the car and she's like, maybe I should figure out where I'm going. And that's when she sees the photo of the goodbye photo. So I don't know that she found this organic. I think Jim somehow sent this to Sam, and that Sam was like, what the fuck? And so now Miss Duan Pen has the scent and is on the hunt to find Mon because now she knows Mon's going to the airport. So meanwhile, Mon is in the car, still thinking about Sam, because she's been like moping in the car the whole time. And she basically says something like, hey, can you guys just congratulate Sam and Kirk for me when they get married? Because they're getting married in 2 weeks and I'm obviously not going to be here. And Jim does this look at T where Jim doesn't say anything, but Jim's face is basically like, I'm hoping Sam finds us so I don't have to say a damn thing. Like, I'm hoping she gets you back so we don't have to go through this. Which happens. So Sam finds them, and Lady Duan Pen basically runs T off the road gracefully, so no one is injured. Runs them off the road. And then Mon and Sam reunite on the side of the road, and Sam just like bear hugs Mon, basically. And Mon,
but hold on, I find it weird that Mon's the one to come out of the car. Because first of all,
it's the car. They knew her car. I think that's why.
Okay. But also, like, does she really want to see her now? Because, like, she's been ghosting her this whole time. I know.
I know. But this is, like, illogical. Because remember, she did try and see Sam again to be like, I want to say goodbye, but she's not letting me. Let's have it out on the side of the highway, which I was getting so nervous. I'm like, please don't get hit by a car. You guys are on the side of a highway. Like, this is so dangerous. They're in the street. They're not on the sidewalk. Just makes me nervous. But anyway.
They do like to do parallels.
They do. I know. There's been many car crashes and almost car crashes involving Mon. So nothing happens, thankfully. But Sam basically rushes at Mon and just like hugs her in the middle of the road. And Mon looks rightfully confused. Like, she's like, what is happening right now? Because what is happening right now? Sam, what is happening? Why did this take so long?
Okay, but it's part of the... because of the grandmother. And it also pisses me off that it was the grandmother that gave her the permission to go. I wish it would have been Sam to go after her without the grandmother.
I agree. But we've tried that so many times and it never works out. So here we are. Mon looks confused as fuck. Sam looks like she's hanging on for dear life because she is. And basically now Sam says, the first thing she says is don't go to England. So like, again, confirming that like she knows Mon is going to England. So I think Jim tipped her off on all the things. And she didn't find this out from Mon. She found it out from somebody. And Mon looks a little pleased to hear that. She's like, I hate that you're doing this, but I love that you're doing this, because Mon doesn't really want to go. She wants Sam, but you know how that we've been here for 12 episodes. We know how that keeps going. And then Mon's like, okay, Sam, tell me why you don't want me to go. And Sam replies, like, I can't live without you, literally. And like truer words have never been spoken, because we saw how unalive looking Sam was, haunting the grandmam's house, essentially. Just looking like a goddamn ghost. And so yes, without Mon, Sam has little happiness in her life and like literally is not living it. And that's why before, like, she sunk herself into the company that doesn't matter anymore, because like that was her escapism. But now she has real love, and it's just like, wow, now that I've had this, I wasn't living before, and I don't think I can. She's just lost basically without Mon, basically. And Mon is like, okay, that's great and all, but we've been here way too many times, like, and the outcome is always the same. I give you a chance, and then like you destroy my heart. So like, I need a fresh start, Sam. I need something to change. Is what Mon is saying in this scenario. Like, something's got to give, because I've seen this film before, right?
And
she's like, huh?
We've said it, so.
We've said it, you know? And Mon's like, I need to be free of these feelings, and like, I just want to forget about all this, because enough. But Sam doesn't want to forget. She's like, I don't think she can forget. I don't think Sam would ever forget any of this. And so she basically just like pours her heart out to Mon and tells her, look, I haven't known a moment of joy since I lost you. And she misses her, which is mutual. But again, Mon has seen this film 100 times, and every time it ends in her pain at her expense. So she's like, we need a new solution. And the solution I have is moving on for real, because something needs to give. But then Mon touches Sam's face. Okay. And because it's like an instinct, sure. Here you are actually in front of me instead of in my head kind of thing. I want to touch you kind of thing. But the contact gets to Mon a little bit, and that's when her resolve starts wavering, because before this, she's very much like, I'm moving on. Something's got to give. She touches Sam's face. That's when everything changes.
I mean, the screenshot that you took, it looks so honest, too.
Sorry.
Like, it's a beautiful, sad, like,
oh, yeah,
moment that they end up sharing during this scene. Actually, too, yeah.
Yeah, because like Sam is literally pouring her heart out. For real. Yes. And Mon is still being like, listen, I miss you, I love you, all that too, but like, it's not enough. Something has to change. Right. And so she touches her face. And then when she pulls her hand away, like the loss of contact, like the contact itself gets to Mon and her resolve starts to waver. And then the loss of contact is what gets to Sam. It's like a reminder of like, I'm actively losing you for real in a final way all over again. And so Sam, again, begs Mon to stay and not leave her. And that's when the dam breaks for Mon, and she starts to cry. And she's like, Sam, we've tried this so many times. Like, our love is just impossible. Also, you're marrying Kirk, the person we all keep forgetting about. Like, that's also still happening, Sam. Like, we've tried this so many times. Like, this isn't going to work. And this is when Sam gets real serious, and she tells Mon, she's like, listen to me. I'm never marrying this bitch. Ever.
I have something to add.
Do it.
We are never, ever getting back together.
Yeah, Sam starts singing that. And then Mon's like, what do you mean we, you and I? And gets confused all over again, because that's how their references usually work with them. Sam understands the reference, and then Mon's like, I don't know what you're saying, Sam. Thanks for hurting me again. Good job, Kaitlynn. But basically, she's like, the grandmam called it off. Like, she agrees. Like, we finally came to the compromise. Like, she agrees. I'm not marrying Kirk. It's not happening ever, ever, ever. So finally, the stars are aligned. They're on the same page. The grandmam has given her blessing for Sam to be with the person she wants. And Sam's like, I choose you. I will always choose you, is basically what she says. Then Sam touches Mon's face back and is like, so the mutual contact thing. And then it's like, okay, I just said all the things. I just poured my heart out. I talked to my grandmother. I made the stars align. Your turn, Mon. Like, do you want me back? Like, putting it back in Mon's court. Because Mon's already like, I have an apartment in England. I have a job. Like, I literally have a plane in 30 minutes. So she's like, Mon, what do you want? That's what I want. And Mon's like, hell yes, that's what I want. I love you. And I've been thinking constantly about how I would give up anything in exchange to get you back, but I don't have anything. So hence why I was going to England. So I love that. And I love, as they're having the conversation, we keep seeing all these shots with the pinwheels. And each time we get a shot with the pinwheels, the shot gets gayer and gayer. Like, there's more rainbows creeping into the frame each time.
They love rainbows in the background, like with the cement truck.
Yes.
In 11.
Yes. These are our side of the road cement trucks, basically. And so with all the gayness happening, with the confirmation that Mon chooses her back now that the stars have aligned, Sam is like, well, cool. I'm glad you want that because I'm here. I'm here right now. Like, you're here. Let's do this. Like, let's do this for real. And then seals the deal with basically a kiss. And they get the romantic, like, 360 camera rotation as they're having this kiss, which is, the gays rarely get things like that. So thank you, director. And of course, they're not alone because they're on the fucking side of the road. And the friends have already gotten out of the car. Like, I don't know how long it took them to be like, cracking the window. And they're like, I can't hear anything. Jim, I can't hear anything. And then they eventually all get out of the car and they're like 2 feet away watching this whole thing. They had time to FaceTime Cade, who's also watching. And they're just, it's because Cade is on set doing her job for once. And so I love that. They're just like not subtle about it. And then when it's over, they're like, can you guys kiss in the car next time? It's real hot for us to stand out. It's hot outside. Do it in the car next time. Fucking idiots. They're all going to fit that. Anyway, I thought that was funny. I love them. Anything about the romantic reunion before we move on?
No.
Cool. So wedding's off. Sam and Mon are going to be together. Then we cut ahead 3 months.
Which is weird that it's 3 and not 2.
Agreed. Breaking those rules for the queers. And then 3 months later, Cole's mystery man, Sir Foom, visits the grandmom because we didn't know who the hell this man was in the opening credits. And here he is. Finally, fun fact, according to our comment section and kind of IMDb, I tried to like confirm this. Apparently the actor in here is actually the CEO of Idol Factory, and he was in Secret Crush on You, which is cool. So, and I love that he's like the fourth wall breaker. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so it's not explained explicitly, but it's implied through conversations and then titles and stuff that basically he's a member of the royal family too. And I'm assuming above the grandmam in terms of the hierarchy. Because he calls her auntie. And now that I've read the loyal pin, I understand a little bit more about how the royal family uses that term. So I think that he's above her. And then she refers to his parents as his lordship and her ladyship. I don't know if he's supposed to be like the crowned prince or the prince or whatever, but like he's something higher up than her, is my assumption. Regardless, he stopped by with a care package to pay his respects because she had, the recent illness, which was like months ago, but he was in Switzerland, so we'll give him a break. And then she mentions, she's like, yeah, I'm getting better. I can walk a couple of kilometers by myself, which, like, go, grandmam. That's hard to do after you had a cardiac event. So good for you. That's really good. So she's taking care of herself, and I'm sure Sam is forcing her to go on walks.
Sam's like, all right, beat your record today.
Or she sends Mon. Yeah. Anyway, so while they're chatting, the grandmam gets a call from Sam because Sam is being the good granddaughter, and she's, again, has not left the grandmam. She's taking care of her, making sure she's taking her meds and doing all those things. So they FaceTime, and, She's doing all the thing the ER doctor and the 3 angels told her to do. And the grandmam's like, oh, well, Sir Foom is here. I'm glad you called. He brought me fruit, so you don't have to bring that, And she hands the phone to him, and he's like, hey, Sam, how are you doing? And she doesn't say anything. Instead of responding, she puts Mon on the phone. He just gives Mon the phone. And Mon's like, hi, and like bows. And then she's like looking at Sam like, Sam, what the fuck? Like, why are you putting me on the phone? And she like taps the phone like back to Sam.
I love the awkwardness. She's like, I don't know what to do.
She's like, why are you putting the king on the phone with me? Like, get the fuck out of here, Sam. He's your relative. Like, Sam's like, poor Mon, she's like, help. Like, what? Why? And
but it also shows how comfortable Sam is with her and having her around. Like, she wants to show her off. Like, it's cute.
It's adorable. Again, her response, the question was, how are you doing? Her response is, look at her. That's how I'm doing. Her. Not who are you doing, Sam? How are you doing? It's like, here.
And just put like poor Mon is terrified. Like, I don't want to do this.
She's just like, and it's like not the grandmother, because she called the grandmother. It's some guy. Anyway. Some things never change. So it was adorable. But his response is really cute. He's like, I can see you're doing just grand. Sam, happy to see that.
Since we've had a lot of Frozen references in this episode, I'm just going to say Some Things Never Change is a song in Frozen 2. And now I just got distracted again.
I'm so sorry. But the fun part is, like, he doesn't seem surprised to see that the answer was, here's my girlfriend. Because we find out later, he heard all about all the gay drama from Nung. So he already knew. He's like, oh, I see. That's your girlfriend. Got it.
So I wonder if Nung and him were like friends when she was younger. And like Probably. They grew up together.
I mean, they probably all knew each other from growing up because they're related in a way. So after Mon is like, get me off this phone call, Sam is like, sorry, my partner Mon is a little shy. So, but she's cute, right? Look at her. She's cute. You understand all the drama makes sense now, right? You've seen her, which is, again, showing Sam's comfortability of being like, because Sam has always wanted to be like, that's my girlfriend. Just like say it out loud. And here she is, like to the prince or whatever, being like, yep, that's her. We're dating. That's my lover, Mon. There she is. Sam, love her. Love her confidence. So they chat for a little bit and then they hang up. And Mon and Sam go back to being cute and in love and together, and they just like walk off screen going somewhere. And then Sir Foom and the grandmam have this really great conversation where basically he's like, I respect your decision to like let Sam openly date Mon. Like, that's great, truly. And the grandmam kind of like, again, it's been a few months, right? Since she's been like, okay, Sam, like I've come to a place of understanding and acceptance of what's going on with you. Like, okay. And like,
and seen how Sam's whole demeanor has changed.
Oh my God. This is a completely different person than like the prior scene where she was like a ghost, right? And I imagine in the 3 months, like the grandmam has probably gotten to know. I assume Sam has brought Mon over there, and they've gotten to know each other.
Oh yeah, because they're not separated whatsoever. They're one person.
Never. So she brings Mon over there. I'm sure.
But did Mon start working at the company again?
We never get resolution for the company. Kaitlynn, that's my problem with the show. What happened? Question mark. I assume so, but there's no company anymore. There's just
they didn't need to. Mon exists now, so
Sam's job is
very busy
doing Mon. She's got that's her job. That's it. How's work going? Here's Mon. She's smiling, so it's going well. All right, so. But I like this conversation because if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, like it's the grandmother's old school. Queerness is a new concept for her. It's only been a couple of months. So I like that she has this conversation with this relative where she's basically like, look, I don't fully understand the whole thing. Like, I don't understand how gay love works or whatever. Like, but it makes Sam happy. And that's all that matters. Like, this isn't my ignorance on this is not worth losing Sam. And Sir Foom gives the audience a brief history lesson of the progress of LGBTQ rights in Thailand, which is great. And he's like, listen, like, we're moving in the right direction, but it's new. And like, he basically validates her feelings and as she's processing all of this, which I think is really good. And then he's like, all my gay friends just gay it up all over the place. Some of them get married in other countries. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I don't really see gender sexuality as a problem. It's just, it is what it is. Like, whatever. It's normal. And the grandmother perks up at this because, like, let's be real. In the 3 months that Sam and Mon have been over a bunch of times, like I said, and Sam, Sam, she truth purges. So I'm pretty sure she 100% told the grandma, like, yeah, we got married and now I love Lesbos. And like, or at the very least, it's been like, I would love to marry Mon if it was legal. I'm pretty sure Sam has brought this up to the grandmother. So like hearing like him, somebody she respects, basically be like, yeah, like queer people get married in other countries. And it's not a big deal. I think all of this is very validating for her to hear because, I don't imagine she has a lot of friends. If she's like Sam, she probably doesn't have a lot of friends. And like, who do you talk to about this? Like as an elder person, who probably has other friends. If she has friends that are close to her, they're probably the same age, like, right? So it would be harder to have that conversation with somebody of her generation. So I like that she has him, somebody she respects, to talk about this too. And like, I think it's very validating and helpful as she comes to terms and processes and unlearns things, that's a process. And he basically says the thesis of the entire show, that love always finds a way and it transcends gender and sexuality. Thank you, Sir Foom. Appreciate it. And I love that when he says this, you see it cuts to the grandmother and you really see her having like the inner epiphany of like, yes, okay.
This is a really good scene with her.
It's a great scene.
And like, which I wish we got before everything
Agreed.
happened.
I wish she came back from Switzerland a long time ago. I think the other thing that helps ease her anxieties about this is like, again, bridging the generational differences. Because she says at one point, she's like, well, your generation has an easier time like accepting all of this versus my generation. I think what seals the deal really for her to be like, okay. As he mentions, he's like, well, I told my parents about Sam and Mon, and they're thrilled. And like they're like very supportive of Sam, and they would like to be invited to the wedding if Sam chooses to marry Mon. And I think that's like, again, like people who rank even above him that like are older. I think that was when she was like, oh, our family accepts them too, because I was hella worried about that,
But I just have this thing where after this conversation, the grandmother calls back Sam like, okay, we gotta plan our wedding immediately.
Yeah, she's
getting
like,
married to Mon now.
Did you watch The Princess Diaries? The scene with Sandra Oh, where she's like on the phone, she's like, the queen is coming. I think it's that where she's like, the king's coming. God damn it, Sam, I gotta get married.
I have not seen that movie since I knew about Sandra Oh, so I have to go back into like actually pay attention.
Iconic woman.
I can't believe she was in that movie. That's so random.
Her comedic timing is the best.
It is.
Sandra Oh deserves to be in more comedies. I love her. Oh my god. Anyway, that's another tangent. My love for Sandra Oh. We'll not get into that.
Oh wait, till the Killing Eve series.
For the Killing Eve. Whatever, we film that. All right. Anything else you wanted to say about this? I don't know if you said this.
Yeah. No, like watching this whole thing, I think it was really important, and I think the grandmother really needed the validation from someone who is the same status and closer in age, because like, yeah, it's easier to see other, like the common folk, be themselves and be in same-sex relationships, but because of the nobility, like they're held to a higher standard. So knowing that members of other royal families and like that status are okay with it lets her know that, okay, this isn't going to be looked down upon by everyone, that it's okay and we are evolving. And yeah. The grandmother really needed this.
Yeah, she definitely needed this. Absolutely. It's like, oh, the whole family accepts Sam, not just me. Like, yeah, it's validating on many levels. Like, yeah, thank you for adding that.
I do not like the transition from this scene into the next one, though.
Oh my god. Oh, well, yeah. Well, first of all, how much time passes? They don't tell us. Every time. It was the next day because the grandmother's like, fuck yeah, the king's here. We gotta get married. Now, Sam. And Sam's like, I already planned everything. It's fine.
It was either 2 days or 2 weeks, Theora.
It was 2 weeks later, let's be real.
Well, yeah. I would love if they just had everything that Kirk planned already.
They just co-opted it. That would be hilarious, actually. Thanks, Kirk.
And Kirk was just like, or no, Mon, no. Okay, if the company was still, and Mon was working there still, I feel like they would all be getting lunch together, and the grandmother brought up that they need to have a wedding, because she's like, "Well, you guys already got married in the Isle of Lesbos, so let's make it real for, like, everyone to come to." And then so Mon starts freaking out that they still have to plan this thing, but, like, they're too busy being in love and, not worrying about this company that that, like, she doesn't know what to do. Like, she never thought that she'd have this extravagant of a wedding. And so Kirk's like, "All right, girls. Now, you remember all that work I did to plan our wedding? Just take that, change it to your
Our
colors."
wedding.
So,
Oh yeah, no. Sam would be like, now I'm suddenly interested in wedding planning.
go live
She'd
and
be like,
prosper.
yeah, no, Sam would be like, absolutely not, and redo everything the way she
And
wants
Sam
it.
did it in one night.
One night, yeah. She's like, I got this, Kirk. This was absurd. Why would you ever say yes to this? And they're like, Sam, you signed off on this. She's like, I don't remember. Yeah, no. She would never take Kirk's stuff at face value. There's no way. Not for Mon. Mon gets her dream wedding. All right, so an undetermined amount of time later, Sam and Mon are getting married. And the friend group has congregated, but I think like T and Yuki are manning like the book that everybody signs. And Cade shows up first. And they're all like, yay, you guys are here. And then Cade's like, where the hell is Jim? And then we zoom across to the open bar where Jim is double fisting some champagne. Like taking full advantage of A, the open bar, and B, not having a baby anymore.
Well, she has it, but it's just not with her.
Like, she's not pregnant. Not being pregnant anymore. And so, of course, immediately the friends are like, God, Jim, you big drunkard, what are you doing? It's Sam's wedding. You're a, quote, mother now. And she's like, friends. And then she does what I hope was a fourth wall break, where she says, I asked you to call me Martha in public. Here we are again in public. And she's like, you've been calling me Jim from the beginning of the series till this point, which I hope this is a fourth wall break and not a mistranslation, because it would make it 1,000 times funnier if Jim is directly breaking the fourth wall about this name thing that the friends never stick to.
It's either that or like the translation. People just got so tired of it. Like, you know what? You've been calling her since the beginning of the series. But no, it would be a lot funnier if it was just being like the series. And like there's like, it's not even just that, like there's multiple lines of talking about everything that happens in the show.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. And in my headcanon, Jim is breaking the fourth wall. And I love that it's Jim. Okay. But before we move on from this, I want to compare something. So in this shot, we see the plaque of the Mon and Sam plaque, because like it's their wedding, right? So I want to compare this to the wedding invitation that Kirk picked out, Kirk and the grandmother, because I think it's very revealing about what's happening here. So comparing the two images, in this kind of like situation, the name on top would be the person with the highest honor, right? So if you go to the wedding invitation that Kirk sent out, it's Sam's on top. It's Sam and Kirk, right? If you go to Mon and Sam's wedding, everywhere there's their name or their letters, Mon's on top. So like Sam, again, positioning Mon on top to be like the highest honor is Mon, and I'm just Sam. I get to marry her, basically. It's like how I'm reading this.
I'm just Sam.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Mon is Barbie and she's just Sam. Yeah, that's how Sam sees Mon. Absolutely, 100%. So, but in Kirk and Sam's wedding, it makes sense because she's the one with the title. So she is literally the person with the most honor, like literally. But in Sam and Mon's wedding, it's more like, I think that Sam was like, no, Mon, your name comes first because you come first, kind of thing. Has nothing to do with titles. It's more like a sign of affection thing. Then let's get to how the names are spelled. In the official wedding invitation coming from Kirk, Sam's government name is on there, the full name, and Kirk's full government name, right? So it's very formal looking versus like it says Mon and Sam. It's their nicknames, which I think is really, really cute. It makes it more intimate versus like the invitation felt more like procedural and formal looking. So it's more of an intimate ceremony is like the tone, which is really, really sweet. And then let's talk about the colors, the last thing. So in the invitation coming from Kirk and the grandmother, it's like a hodgepodge of colors, right? And there's just like some abstract shapes. There's some flowers. Like it feels very generic in a way because...
And the names are very small.
And the names are super small. They get drowned by all of this just like generic stuff. So to me, it's like the font and then like not the font, but like I guess the font, like how big it was, and then like all the bordering colors and things. It's distracting, right? Like the names, like the people are getting lost in this like formal kind of like paper, right? Versus if you go to Mon and Sam's like plaque, it's like their names are front centered and really huge. And then the background is just solid white, which is like their neutral color. And then
it also just looks cleaner, more simple, and it actually, you know what it looks like? This looks more free. They feel free in that word. That one, they're those
being suffocated.
Yeah, that would they're suffocated. So like they're finally free and light and airy to be themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And then the color palette kind of shows that too, where it's like white, which is the neutral color. Then they have pink, which is Mon's color, which becomes Sam's color in the wedding, which is really cute. And gold. Their names are in gold. And so gold, not a color we've really seen from them, but like in weddings, like exchanging.
Is that gold? It looks just like a light pink.
It looks like gold to me. Because like the wedding invitation both have like gold. Their names?
I don't know. It could just be the coloring right now.
It could be. I'm going with gold because like in weddings, like you exchange precious minerals like gold because it's a way of like, it may just be about money, but it's a way to put value on it. So to me, it's like their names are they are precious. It's a precious moment, that kind of thing.
It just looks like peach in this like the screen that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. And then I want to note something about the colors that I think is very interesting when we go into the wedding. So the color theme is obviously pink and white, like obviously, but it's like inverse, which is interesting. So Sam ends up wearing pink and all of Sam's guests wear pink, whereas Mon wears white and Mon's guests wear white, which is really interesting. Except Kirk, who wears black. And I'm like, you bitch, you can't even like follow the color coding. Anyway.
I mean, it's interesting that, okay, so I know I'm jumping slightly, but this is just because we're talking about it now. In the next photo that you're going to show is Chin and thank you for having it on there. But Chin is wearing white, so that means Chin's a
Team Mon.
Mon guest, and Ya is a
Sam guest.
Yeah, that's odd though.
Well, I wonder if like no, there are pink suits that show up. Yeah, that's some BS. Chin. Sam's gonna. I would say Sam would fire you for that, but I think she's like, you know what, you're a Mon supporter. I understand.
I feel like everyone at the company would have been in white,
right? But I think they're afraid of Sam still, so they all wear pink. Except the only person who. Okay, so then we cut over to Kirk, who's hanging out with the employees. That's how we get to the screenshot. Kirk wears black, and I think not out of disrespect. I think he's like, I already bought this for the wedding. This is my suit now, and he just wore what he was going to wear to their wedding. Anyway. Because the other, for the photos, that was rented. And they're like, give that back, Kirk. Because he was wearing white. And I was like, I'm just going to wear this black suit that I have. Because why not? Also, he's in mourning. Because he was supposed to marry Sam. So it kind of works. Anyway, so Kirk's talking to the employees. And I guess forbidden love wins. Because Chin and Ya are together. Which, I hate this.
This is bullshit. And that's why I really want his, I hope by now, ex-wife to have her own bisexual awakening show.
I agree. And then she dates Jim. Okay. All right. Then after the employee, we deal with the employees are there. Yay. We move on. Then we go to the families where.
Hold on. I just want to say, because the employees are all there, I wish we had scenes where the employees were finding out about this relationship. Because at this point, only Ya knew.
Oh my God.
And I just feel like everybody's brains exploding. And then especially if they were told with the wedding invitations, that would have been hilarious.
And then Ya's just like, that's just brand new information.
So I'm like, this is in my head that everything is going fine with the company. It's like how we were when we left it, basically. Like, so Sam's still there to stare at Mon all day long. Mon's there to actually work. And so everyone gets it in the mail, like when they got home the night before, and they all bring it into the office being like, what is this?
Well, okay, so Sam has to have dissolved the you can't date employees rule. Because, like, okay, so Mon was gone. Mon had to come back to the company. And then everyone's like, why is Mon back at the company? And Sam's like, don't worry about it. And then has a meeting. And she's like, by the way, you guys can date each other. I don't give a fuck. And then everyone's like, what the fuck is happening? And then they get
y'all just like, they're in the corner.
Why is everybody here? What the fuck is happening? It all just escalates in like a 24-hour.
But it would be Sam to put this off until like
Oh
Mon's
my
like,
gosh,
they are
I want
in
that
the
so
mail.
bad.
Your employees are going to see this like invitation.
Yeah, fine, Mon, because you said so. Mon's like, I'm gonna divorce you if you don't do this. And it's like, fine, we're meeting in 5 minutes. All right. So anyway, so the families you reunite and have a chat, and Mon's parents are really thankful. So okay, this also establishes that like the families have gotten together outside of this and have made peace with each other. So the grandmam is accepting of them, despite them being like common born or what have you. And the grandmam's like, look, I don't care about that. I used to, I don't care anymore. I thank you for raising Mon into this strong, independent woman that she is, because she has made Sam a much more courageous, happy, better off person. So like, thank you. Again, tying in the whole thing that unity is strength. And she's like, more importantly, more importantly, Sam happiness is my happiness. So like, I'm happy. So thanks for making me happy, I guess. Then we get to the ceremony because it's about to start. And Nung came to the ceremony, which is great because, again, the universe is healing. The family's all healing, right? Thanks to Sam, the generational curse breaker. And it seems from the way Nung and the grandmam interact, because they have a little bit of like, how are you doing? How are you doing? Kind of stuff. And the Nung helps like the grandmam sit down in the chair. So it seems like they have cleared the bad blood between them, which is really good. Long overdue. Again, Sam's impact, breaking generational curses. Good job. All right. Meanwhile, the brides are in the staging area, like living their best life. And for some reason, when we're in there, the camera goes into movie mode. Kaitlynn, please explain why?
I love that you would know that I had an explanation for this, and I
don't
went
know
to
what it
comment
means.
on it, and I saw this, and I was like, okay. So basically, everybody who does any sort of filming has this like wonderful idea of cinematic effect, and it's usually when the black bars get bigger. They make it fully obvious that they filmed this another way and made it smaller, because like it's a whole thing where you shouldn't film it normally and then just put black bars on top, because if you want it to be cinematic, just film it like that. I don't care. Anyway, so basically they want this wedding. It's kind of like they want it to be like their wedding video, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also being like this, it's a dreamy like movie like sequence. They're the stars of their lives now.
Okay,
So
I'll take that.
that's what I'm thinking. But I think this is their wedding video.
That also makes sense,
Probably
because
could be
it
a
doesn't last long, the movie sequence.
No, and it's just the beginning, and just being like, it's a good way for them to montage it. I don't fully understand like why they did the movie thing. I think the wedding video would be the most plausible.
Yeah, because it looks to me like they're reenacting Enchanted by Taylor Swift. Like, it's just like big smiles and they're just like staring at cameras, and like it feels staged. So like maybe this is their wedding video, like you're saying. But importantly, we get the big, beautiful, enchanting smile from Sam, who's literally living her best life, her best happy life today.
The fans come in.
Cool. So not yet. They're in the backstage. Then we transition outside. So they're just in the back room, just like taking photos of themselves, like Mon's putting on her makeup and things like that. Then they leave hand in hand, and the wifing starts to begin.
But yeah, so I think,
and yeah,
I think
everyone's
that's why
cheering.
that they have this movie like scene, is because it is filmed differently, because they have fans, like actual fans of these actors, in the room where they're filming. So all that cheering and everything that they have when they're which sometimes seems a little out of place, and then other times it makes sense because they're actually getting married and stuff, but it's all like fans of Freen and Becky being there and cheering and everything. So they're
But it is shot normally. You see the bars come in.
Well, so
it's not different. It's just they did this for like reasons.
Like they have the a video of this being filmed with all the people there and everything up on it's on YouTube. I don't know if it's on Idol Factory's website itself or YouTube page itself, but they have like this clip of this wedding scene and everything. So I wonder if it's I don't know. Maybe they have that because of it being a part of something else as well.
It's possible. All right, cool. So let the wiping begin. All right, so then they walked outside, like not outside, but they're walking down the aisle basically, and you get like a good shot of like what they're wearing. So I will note that Sam is wearing like a simple, no nonsense pink dress, very different than what we saw from the Kirk wedding photo shoot, right? It's very simple and very elegant. It's got a long train, and she's still got her black stilettos on because that is still her color. But I love that she chose to wear pink because today's all about Mon as far as Sam's concerned. Mon's name is the top name here. It's all about Mon. She's just so beyond thrilled. And then Mon is wearing this fancy as fuck white dress with gloves. She looks like a lady. It's like, good for you, Mon. You get to be the princess on your wedding day. Like, love it. And Mon is the one carrying the bouquet in this scenario. So the bouquet is really cute. So it's pink roses and then a little baby's breath, which is a little like white flowers. And what I want to note that's really interesting is that the floral arrangements everywhere else in this room, it's just white flowers, all kinds of different white flowers. Mon is the only one holding color in terms of flowers, which is cute and interesting. And I love that. All right, so the two of them walk down the aisle, then they get to the front of the room, and then the movie ends, and we go back to like normal filming. And Sam starts the ceremony by thanking everyone and giving a shout out to the grandmam. She's like, thanks for taking my happiness seriously. Otherwise, we quite literally would not be here today, as we all know. And thank you to my loyal ride or dies. And it shoots over to like Jim, Kate, and T, who are like the people of honor, which is adorable. We love them. And most importantly, she's like, but fuck all of you guys. Really, Mon, if it wasn't for you, if you didn't exist, none of this would happen. So she's like, thank you for existing, which is super sweet and relatable. I say that all the time. Like, thanks for existing. So that was really cute. And then she thanks Mon for being her source of happiness and literally bringing color into her life because her life was dull and gray and boring before Mon, and she brought pink into her world. And suddenly, like, everything was like happiness everywhere. Hence why I think that's why she wore pink as an honor to Mon. She's like, I'm so happy you were my happiness. I'm just going to wear your color because, you know, that's how I feel. Then those are Sam's wedding vows. Then it's Mon's turn. And she tells her how she feels. And she basically says that having Sam love her back is like literally beyond her wildest dreams. She's like, I've just been stalking you. And like, here we are getting married. I did not see this coming. But don't worry, we'll never be apart. Never, not ever. And I'm pretty sure like she like added here as insurance to be like, Sam, you better not flee ever fucking again. Because I'm never gonna let you run away. Like, not that Sam would ever run away, but like she's like, listen, we've made these promises before and you've left. I'm never letting you go. I hope you know that. There's no takesy backsies here. So during this conversation, it cuts to, while Mon is giving her essentially vows, it cuts to Sam multiple times. And there's just like, it's really cute if you watch Sam like listen to this, like multiple times, like smiles are just like threatening to break out across her face. And she tries to fight them a few times and then just can't and just is just smiling like crazy. So it's just, there's so much joy in Sam's life that it's like literally bursting out of her, which is really cute. It's to the point where she can't contain it. It's adorable. Not that she should have to, it's their wedding. Then we get to the rings, and very cutely, they both wore their old engagement bracelets. It's hard to see in the screenshot I have, but they're both wearing them, and they both have the pink rings from the Isle of Lesbos marriage. And then Sam used her money to get kick-ass, like, blood diamonds or whatever. And so they do, like, the exchanging of rings. And I understand what they're doing here, where, like, they have the pink ring on the ring finger, and then they're adding the other ring. But like practically speaking, guys, that's not going to work out. You're going to have to figure out something else to do with the pink ring because like you can't bend your finger.
I think they just put it on for this to remember everything.
I know. I'm just advice. It's not going to work out if you want to keep them both. Figure something out with the pink rings. That's all I'm saying. You have another hand. It's fine. Okay. Then they hug and everybody cheers and it pans across the room and we see Noi. And Noi is like looking through her hands like she's afraid of what she's watching. Sam should fire you just for this, Noi. This is offensive. At her in front of her wedding. Noi, another reason to hate Noi. I have to fire her.
Is it because she's crying because she's so happy for them?
It's Noi. She can't ever do anything right. You know this, Kaitlynn. Anyway, she's not marrying Kirk, so I don't know why she's upset. Anyway, then there's kiss her chant that's happening, which Sam's like, you don't have to tell me. Like, and so basically she kisses Mon and does her little like thumb brush thing, which is really, really sweet. Because Mon's her little like precious Mon. So it's very cute that she's doing that. Then we go outside for the bouquet toss. And they're like single ladies, all the single ladies gather. And Sam and Jim then start whispering. And then they're like, she's like, you're right, Jim. Why would you take Jim's advice? Anyway, but she's like, you're right, Jim. Kirk, you look sad and single. Come out here. So they have Kirk, which like, poor Kirk. This was supposed to be his wedding. He got snubbed in all the ways. And then they're like, you look like a sad little lonely bitch. Like, get in here with all the women. This was so funny. So Kirk joins all the women. And Mon tosses the bouquet. And then Kirk and Cade catch it together. And like, is this their meet cute? Like, what do you think about this?
I think when we were watching it for a reaction video, this is when like the guy was like stepping aside for him, so we were really hoping it was for those two. My favorite part about this is that actually I noticed something else, but that he does not end up with Noi.
Nope. Noi got no one.
But I do see that Nung is there, and that's really sweet. So I'm hopeful that maybe they are doing family therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all trying to work through it.
But, like, Kirk and Cade, thoughts? Because they catch the bouquet together. It's weird, too. I think it's weird. Because, like, they start the wedding by being like, Cade, are you going to find your person? And Cade's like, whatever. And then this happens. So I think it's supposed to, like, imply, oh, Kirk and Cade were meant for each other all along.
Did they have a single conversation together?
Right? They ever talked? Right? That's why I'm confused.
I was hoping it was
is this their meet cute? Right.
And Kirk together.
I agree. I would love that. He's like, gender, what is gender? And it's like, go get Kirk. Anyway, I'm here for that. But regardless, those two now have their meet cute. And meanwhile, we start getting this voiceover from Sam while she's super making out with Mon in the most respectful way in front of this crowd that's going wild. And basically, it's like the conclusion of the show where she's like, you know, I used to like gray and just like being alone. And I never liked pink, which I relate to this so hard. What is pink? I don't even like that color. I wore it for you, Mon. But she's like, you know, my life was boring and gray. And then you came into my life and brought pink. And you know what? I kind of like pink now. Thanks, Mon. And that's basically the end of the translation. And like translation is basically like, if you replace the word pink with love, that's what Sam is saying. She's like, I never really had love in my life until you showed up. And now I have it. The end. And that's a wrap on Gap.
I cannot believe we got to this point at all.
We made it, guys. Something I want to show, like, I just wanted a shout out of appreciation for Freen's acting before, like, give her an Emmy for this. First, they were both great, but particularly she did an amazing job. I saw this post and I wanted to, like, recreate it because the post is gone now. But basically, if you look at the first time Sam meets Mon, like, in the present, and, like, how Freen is playing Sam, to the last time she's, like, staring at Mon at the wedding, it's, like, a completely different person. And so, like, having now watched this multiple times for, like, the discussions, now the reaction videos, like, the way she chose to play Sam was just masterful. And just shout out to her acting. Like, she just killed it. And it's almost like two different people. Like, great job.
Yes.
Your turn, Kaitlynn.
Yes. So, we have gotten a few comments recently about the nicknames because we bring it up a lot. So,
Michael.
User, I'm not even going to attempt to say all the letters and numbers on YouTube. Basically explained what Sam's nickname was and how they were translating it. So it's just basically showing like how they got nicknames. And then on Patreon, Indigo told us that in Thai, everybody has a given birth name, first and last, that is on documents, and that everybody also has a nickname that is basically used all the time, even when they talk about themselves, which is interesting.
Yeah, if you hear them when they talk, I'm always like, in this language, is there a word for you? Because I don't know that there is necessarily, because if you listen to what they're saying, like, they'll say things like Sam loves Mon, or like Mon loves Sam. Like, instead of saying like I love you, it's like pronouns get thrown out sometimes, and they use their names constantly to refer to themselves in like third person, which is interesting.
Yeah, so like everyone has a nickname, and it means something, and like they also said there's a bunch of Thai actors with English nicknames like Milk, Love, Earth, Mix, Gemini, Babe, Film. But so like for the Americans, it is really weird. But I did some quick searching, and
Nice.
I wanted to look into some of the nicknames since everyone has a nickname. So I was like, all right, well, what do these nicknames mean? And so, disclaimer, this is what the Googs told me, and I had limited time to look into it, so I apologize if it's wrong. So Jim, we've already established that Jim is slang for vagina in Thai. So it makes sense that she wants to be called that Martha out in public. And I believe Martha basically just means lady. Noi means little or small. Mon means pillow.
That tracks.
Go off, pillow princess. Except that one scene.
Except that one scene.
Maybe two. Well, 2 parts.
Yeah.
Okay, so sham sham means very juicy or very saturated with water or liquid. I wonder if that's how the sham wow got its name.
Sham sham.
Okay, so I tried to look up tea, and it gave me like at and in, so I think it's just like used as a preposition for things.
Tea transcends descriptions.
Nop, I didn't get like a good figure on that one, but it seems like 9 or the 9th of something, but if you look up what 9 means, it's like something completely different. So I don't know. Me is a beer, or bear, not beer. I'm sorry.
They explain that that's like some kind of like not direct translation, but it's like a folklore. It means like pineapple, and for some reason there's this thing that means like pineapple auntie who's like a gossip. They explain it in the subtitles.
Oh, okay. I didn't continuously read those once I read it the first time, so I don't remember.
That's okay.
And then no one has this nickname, but I found it when I was looking up. I believe me, because it is pronounced me. I believe, because they said it sounds like they're saying me, but don't take it direct because they might be talking about a bear, not themselves. So me and Noi was on the same thing of like things that you should look out for. So the nickname porn means giving blessings or bestowing something sacred. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well.
Alrighty.
Yeah. That's all I have for the nicknames.
All right. I think we've talked enough. We could skip this last piece. So,
oh, darn, but I have stuff. Fine.
Can you do it in under a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Last thing before we wrap up Gap. Kaitlynn, which Taylor Swift song relates to each character? What do you got?
Young, look what you made me do.
Sorry, that's so good.
Most of these were just like me listening to Taylor Swift on the way to babysitting. Song, Death by a Thousand Cuts. Love story. Okay, apparently so love story
is worth it.
Mon before she even sees Sam again after they met when they were little. So she was already playing love story.
That makes sense, yeah.
Nita, I did something bad. Jim is enchanted because like
he's stuck on Sam.
There's a bonus. The friend group. Now, no one's gonna know this. This is gonna be a very niche one because this isn't Taylor Swift, but this is the Tool song from Handy Manny, and I'm only throwing this in because the kids that I babysit make me sing this 50 times every single time I see them. So that's what you get. But it's very like, you gotta fix everything. So that's the group. Sam, I think, is Paper Rings. Theora thinks Paper Rings is Mon.
But works for both of them.
I'm fully basing this on, I like shiny things, but I'd marry you with paper rings. So like Sam is like, I'm used to these finer things, but it doesn't matter. Just so I
that's
can
valid. My brain went there because Mon actually brought the paper ring. That's the pink ring, but it works for both of them.
And then I had Sam and Kirk down as exile only because it's like Kirk doesn't understand that she doesn't love it.
That's so good.
You're welcome. That is it.
Okay, I have to add, Nung and the grandmother are bad blood.
Yes,
they're bad blood. Mon, actually, Mon and Sam at different points are both illicit affairs. Because especially that line where it's like, don't call me kid, don't call me baby.
Don't call me baby.
Look at this idiotic fool you maybe. That's both of them. Anytime they're doing their this and that. Yeah, love it. Great job, Kaitlynn.
But when was the Run one?
Oh, Run is also, okay. Run's a bonus Taylor Swift song on Red. That's basically like Mon to Sam, because Sam is always like wants to run away. And it's like, yeah, we can be together if we just run away. That's basically Sam. And then and then from beginning to end, Dress. I don't want you to like.
That also add in all the songs we've already talked about.
Yeah, add in everything else.
If you're a fan of Taylor Swift and Gap, you must have really enjoyed our discussion.
You're welcome. Go listen to more songs and let us know what Taylor Swift song is Mon and Sam for the.
Because there's so many that it does fit. Like we could probably do this for every show. Honestly,
maybe we will. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of Gap, this series. We hope you enjoyed all of this delicious content. Before we sign off and end the Gap coverage, I think it's time that we hydrate to Lesbian Jesus one last time. If you're new here and you don't know what this is our super scientific scoring system we developed using big gay science. So it's super accurate, and it's a method for determining how valuable a piece of queer media is to the LGBTQ media library. Why are we hydrating? Because queer media, like water, is essential for life. So, how much would you hydrate for Lesbian Jesus for Gap the series?
Personally, 8 on a good day.
All right.
Not saying like it's bad. Like that's not it. It's just for me, I wouldn't continuously watch it over and over.
Valid.
I would say.
Cool.
You know, I have liked the rest of the content that has come out and the interviews and the like everything else that has come out around the series. Not necessarily more than the series, but I have continued watching all of that stuff. So I've watched many an interview, many of other people discussing and reacting to the shows and listening to people reading all the interviews with English translations or subtitles, and so that for that I would give it like a 10, because I think it has really brought the wider community together, not just people that are solely interested in the show. And I think, Theora, you had mentioned this previously before as well. Like, this is a huge deal for queer portrayal in media in Thailand and in that area of the world as well. So that's, I don't remember what I said, but that is my
cool. That no, it's cool. Gives it a 10. I'm gonna give it a 9.5. What keeps me from giving it a 10 is the employer-employee shit at the beginning and the way it's handled. I hate that, and I don't love that. Other than that, this show's been great for all the reasons we've said. We've made many episodes about it. I think it's an important piece of media. I've seen it multiple times. Honestly, the more I watch it, the more I like it, because it's just, because you have to, for us, we don't speak the language, so we have to like read it. So at least for me, like the more I watch it, the less I have to read, and then like I can pay attention to like the acting. And the show is really funny, and like for me, like I think it's funny, and so I will rewatch things if they're funny. So love it. Cool. So that was a pretty good rating for everybody. So thank you for, if you've made it this far, Yay! Congratulations to you. You're the real hero. If you made it to this point of the podcast, you're the real hero. Like we mentioned at the beginning, if you have any other things you would like us to watch or check out, please leave it in the comments below. That is literally how we got on this journey of Gap. So hopefully we will be back in the future to cover more Free and Becky stuff, because I need that movie. I need the sci-fi movie so badly, and loyal pin things will happen. So we'll be back. But until next time, we have other things coming out. Check that out, and keep hydrating for Lesbian Jesus.
And getting it up all over the place. Bye.
And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube.
Please like, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing super gay content.